all right, guys. Welcome along. Big up yourselves, guys. Welcome back to my channel. I just sporting a new haircut here, guys, in honor of my guest. I'm going to be, I need to give.
Oh, is he froze?
To my channel, yeah. I want to thank everybody for your continued support on my channel. Your likes, your subscribes, and your comments. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for the wonderful reaction I had to that Declan Rice video yesterday. 1,400 views, 400 views in the space of an hour, and 20 subscribers. I just want to thank everybody. 40 likes to that video, man. I got lucky when I uploaded it. I had a day off yesterday, a day off work. My first day off in 8 days. I worked 7 straight. I swore I wasn't going to go on YouTube and do nothing for the day. One of the lads texted me from Switzerland, good friend of mine. This is happening. He said, you got to get on it, man. So I just got on it, and that's all there is about it. So big up to Chris Lee, man. Thank you for that. Big up to the main man himself, and die-hard FC Basel fan. Die-hard. Anyway, this is it, guys. All right, look. I have been joined by a very special guest. Tony has joined us, guys, from Earlydoorsfootballtv. He has a budding channel. He, of course, is a West Ham United fan. So I'm going to let him explain a little bit about his channel, how he started following West Ham, and what he thought of last season, and, of course, the Declan Rice situation. Take it away, Tony, man. It's your time to shine.
No, Dave, thanks for letting me come onto your channel. Been much appreciated. Basically, yeah, last season, well, the last season before that, obviously my brother-in-law is a great Arsenal fan, and he was collaborating with Claude and Diesel, and it was good to get interact with people on the chat. I mean, even though, you know, I'm Hammers, you're Gunners, the chat was great. We got on well with each other, and from that point onwards, and that, you know, I've always kind of had the idea of doing my own stream, but getting the initiative and the ball to do it, that was far from it. So yeah, so I took the plunge a couple of weeks back. You've obviously seen me doing some of my content, and I appreciate all the feedback you've given out there, and people kind of liking the channel. So hats off here for doing that. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's good fun. It's good fun. And obviously, like, you know, me and you, we've, you know, considering we're a million miles away from each other, we get on, you know, really well with each other. So I'm really pleased to be on this. Thank you. I really am.
You're welcome.
West Ham.
No problem.
Yeah, I've just lived up the road from them. So it was a natural choice. West Ham was going to be my team to support as a youngster. Yeah, you know, that's unfortunate for my sins. I'm a West Ham fan.
They had a good season last season, though, man. Well, they won a trophy. I mean, you know what I mean? They won a trophy, and they won a big one, man. They won a big one.
It was a big one. I mean, considering the last time, you know, it was nearly 52 years, I think it was, that we've waited to get a cup. What way to do it? You know, 89th minute, Paqueta, through ball Bowen, and yeah, the rest was history from that point onwards. Yeah, great.
Bravery, man. They were brave. They were brave, like I said off air. Yeah, they were very brave in that moment. All or nothing, man.
No, it was good. It was good to see that. You know, at the end of the day, I didn't think we was, you know, at one point, like, I thought it was going to be penalties, but unfortunately enough, it wasn't that case, and Bowen made sure that it wasn't going to be that. But yeah, I'm pleased. Yeah,
he saved you from extra time, boys. He saved you from the lottery of penalties. And like I said, it was brave. You know what I mean? Brave, man. Brave play, like good forward play. He took a chance, and it gave them no time to respond. They were shell-shocked. I mean, you really just had to see out a couple of minutes. A little bit nervy, I know, kicking the ball forward, get rid of it anywhere.
Yep.
But you gave them no chance to actually. They were shell-shocked. I mean, they were just, and they were tired. I mean, mentally and physically at that point. They didn't. They couldn't rise up for one more chase. Yeah, they couldn't push themselves, man. But yeah, I'm going to ask you, man. Declan Rice, what do you think about the whole situation? Obviously, you're sad he's leaving West Ham, as I would be if I was.
Yeah, I think it was one of those, wasn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, it was inevitable he was going to move on. I mean, fun enough, when Sullivan mentioned that was it, he's going to be moving on, he's available. For me, that was Sullivan saying, like, right, he's available. Put your bids in, and you know, when you look at it, Tuchel was the first one to talk to him. Apparently, they got on well as a conversation, but it just seemed that Declan was happy to stay in the UK. So then it was inevitable what was going to happen from that point, and of course the rumour mill started getting to full effect. Arsenal was the preferred choice by all accounts, but then again, was he? Because obviously at that stage it's all rumour and speculation. There was no kind of confirmed comments from his camp, but when you look at him, young family, wanting to stay in London, etc. So I think it's only a matter of time. Of course, the first bid got rejected, and rightly so. It was a bit of a
disgraceful bid, man. I think it was a disgrace. Yeah.
I know your comments were quite strong on that. It was a disgraceful bid. Plus, the money side of it, you could say that was fine. It's the add-ons that was really the deal breaker. Expecting, and I was joking with an Arsenal fan the other day. I give West Ham their dues to actually kind of banter you back by saying that, what, you think you're going to win the Champions League, you think you're going to win the Premier League, Rice is going to score 10 goals, you're going to give us this extra money? Yeah, good luck to you. But at least West Ham turned and said, not being funny, Arsenal, but it's unrealistic. So, yeah, I'm glad they turned it down. But then, of course, you come in for a second bid. But again, the add-ons was a deal breaker. It just doesn't work. Yeah. How do you feel about the second bid, though, Dave? What did you think about that?
The second bid was the same as the first for me. I wasn't impressed with it at all. I think West Ham were right to reject it out of hand. Firstly, Arsenal, they've got some gall actually making an offer like that for the player. You may be able to lowball Jurrien Timber. You may even be able to lowball Kai Havertz. But Declan Rice is a hot property, especially after his exploits with England, especially after the exploits in the final with West Ham. The season he has just had for him. The difference he would make to Arsenal's midfield, to our play in general, to put an offer through like that when West Ham had actually made it clear 120 million or 100 million on a player. They were willing to be flexible with the 100 million and they take a player as well. That was fair. That was fair. And it was a disgrace. Both of them were exactly the same. Both offers were the same. And I knew straight away, I'm not saying I know better than any of the professional football players out there or like the pundits or this and that, but I knew straight away with the offer, the importance of Declan Rice to West Ham United. They have to lead it's a gentleman's agreement that they said he could go. David Sullivan was nice enough to agree to it. But they're going to get what they want for him. They're not going to let their captain, their talisman, their best player, in my opinion, at West Ham go for an offer like that. It just ranked of disrespect, not just to West Ham, but to the player. And I really thought it was bad. It left a bad taste in the mouth, man. I wasn't impressed with it at all. And as soon as Gundogan left City, I started to get heart palpitations because I know that City are a more attractive prospect than Arsenal. Now, let's have it right, yeah? City at the moment are flying high. They're coming off the back of the treble. They wiped the floor with Arsenal. They wiped the floor. Look what they did to United in the final. I know the score was only 2-1, but they were miles better. Oh man, seriously, it could have been 6 if they wanted. They just sat back after the second goal, man, and they just played a little bit of fancy football and they just saw out the clock. But look, as soon as Gundogan left to Barcelona, I was like this, oh man. I knew. There's one player that they want, and it's Declan Rice. I was like, this is not good because they are in a better position than us. Luckily, he wants to go to Arsenal. Luckily, he wants to stay in London. They couldn't go beyond what they said that they had a strategy of not going beyond their valuation of the player. As soon as I saw Gundogan gone to Barca, I said to myself, we're done. Because the first 2 bids had been wasted. We almost shot ourselves in the foot. We got a bit of luck that the player actually wants to come to Arsenal. That is the only thing that decided it. Have your Kai Havertz, have your Timber, but if we didn't get Rice, he was our number 1 target, our top priority, over the last 6 months at least. And I really believe, man, seriously, Let me just put up that comment. Arsenal forever in the show. Big up, fellas. How are you getting on, man? I hope you're keeping well. But I honestly believe, man, we got a bit of luck there because our first two offers were disgraceful. I mean, the quality of the player.
I totally agree.
You have to pay the money, man. You can't lowball a player like that. And we were lucky to get the third bite at the cherry, and we're lucky to have the player. We'd be thanking our lucky stars. Like I met Edu. When did I meet Edu? I met Edu last September in central London just by chance. Had a photo taken with him, this, that, and the other. At the time, he wasn't exactly, you know what I mean? Arsenal fans were not really into Edu because of the way things had happened. I could tell when I met him and he saw me, he knew I clocked who he was. He knew I realised. And when I went over to talk to him, I could see he was a little bit apprehensive. You know, am I one of the nice fans or am I one of the guys that's got a problem with him? Yeah. Of course, he was there with his wife and his family and the guy that was the size of a mountain. So I wasn't going to start. But he had a minder with him, yeah. A real bruiser. Like, this guy was a monster. So, yeah. And he was with his family. I wasn't going to start anything. I was just nice. I got a photo. He is one of the invincibles, you know. I got my photo taken with him. He's an invincible man. Anyone want to see that photo? Let me know. But yeah, he's a cool guy, man. He was very, very friendly. That's all I'll say, regardless of his policies, regardless of what you think about the man. He was very, very friendly, and he did not have to be. That's all I'd say. He gave me his time.
I mean, you know, it was one of those, you could have easily turned around and walked away from it, especially when you knew that kind of City showed an interest. And obviously everyone, I think not just Hammers fans, but I think most fans were hoping that, he's going to turn you guys down and City would be the next case. Then, of course, you heard that Man United might be in the background and offering Maguire and McTominay as an alternative, as a sweetener. But yet the fee was a little bit lower, so I don't think we would have actually accepted that. But then, I mean, I give fair dues to Edu, Arteta, and dare I say it, the Cronkies. They've actually kind of invested, and you've got a good player, and look after him. Yeah, make sure you look after him. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He always gives you, 100% all the time. It'll be interesting to see where he fits in, or should I say, where the players around him is going to fit in, because that's going to be the crunching point. Who's going to give way? I mean, obviously, you've got this talk of Partey possibly going. I mean, as I joked the other day, I think, you got Boomerang Xhaka. Is he actually going, or is he still going to kind of come rebounding back into the club again?
Oh, man.
So does he fit in the middle of the park, and who's he going to partner up with? I mean, obviously, Odegaard, is his nose going to be put out of joint because at the end of the day, Rice is better than him? I'm not, there's no two ways about it.
Well, he's got to just stay.
Yeah, so it'll be back, I think you just roasted it. It'll be interesting to see
completely
technical.
That's okay. It's the Wi-Fi.
Because when you think about it, as you've got to admit yourself, the likes of Martinelli, the likes of Xhaka, the likes of Odegaard himself, they all went. Did your last 5-6 games, they disappeared. Whereas before they were dependable throughout most of the season, and the kind of the crunch games, they just kind of they went hiding.
It was I'll be honest with you, man. It's not all about ability. Yeah? It's not all about ability. I mean, I don't want to be preaching now, but like Roy Keane was a Man United player, but it wasn't all about ability with him, man. He had the will and the drive to succeed.
Yeah.
And it's not all about ability, man. But like, I wouldn't have minded if we had lost the league. It was just a manner of the way we did it. Like, if we lost by a point and we took it to the last day of the season and the last kick, at least we could say something. But they completely capitulated. I mean, like, okay, we went to Anfield. Fair enough, yeah. We got a draw. We went to the Etihad and we got hammered. We got nailed.
Yeah.
Then we had Brighton at home. We had Southampton at home. Southampton, for example, were a team. Like, it wasn't just against West Ham, City, and Liverpool. We had enough games to see it out. You know what I mean? We had enough games to get over the line. Southampton at home, they were a team fighting relegation. They were in the relegation zone. We came up against them. Trust me, man. Okay, start cautiously. Yeah, it's important. They are a professional footballing team fighting for their lives. But if they had scored, like, how many goals did they score? How many did they concede in the last 8 games? I mean, they had lost 5 in a row, I think. If we had hit the first goal against them, their confidence would have crumbled. They were fragile. Yeah. We hit the front at the Emirates, man, and they're rocking. You would see it. We would have just torn them apart. What did we do? We went out like lambs. They were 3-1 up in the 88th minute. A relegation team, and we're meant to be going for the league. See what you want about us at the Etihad against West Ham. Yeah, very spirited team, good quality. And then City, okay, fair enough. But it wasn't all about those games. We had Brighton at home. We had Southampton at home. How many times we had Bournemouth? We were lucky to beat them 3-2 with that Reece Nelson going at the end. I mean, these were teams that were relegation fodder. With all due respects to these teams, Brighton absolutely wiped the floor with us at the Emirates. They murdered us. We got destroyed. It could have been 7. If it wasn't for poor Ramsdale, all of the team fell apart. Saka bottled it. Let me put up these comments here. But Saka bottled. Like, I think, right, I don't want to be hating, yeah, but I mean, the fact that some of the English players playing in their own country, in the media I'm talking about, the fans know what's what, but in the media, they get favoured, yeah. The pundits favour them. They weren't as scathing. They weren't as scathing about them because it's Saka, because it's Ramsdale, because these players play with England, you know. They were awful, awful, awful. And Mikel Arteta's man management going into those final games. I mean, if it was me as a player, and I was in that position against Southampton, for example, trust me, man, I would have went out on that field, and there would have been no 3-1 88 minute anyway, I'll tell you that. And then we come back and they're like, Arsenal rescue a point. Man, that draw, that point was of no use. We rescue a point. Odegaard, the man, and he's like this. Lads, we were 3-1 down in the 88th minute to a relegation team pushing for the league. That is that was just, I mean, like, City were looking at that and they were like this.
Yeah.
Pep was like that. He was like that. God, man.
I totally agree.
How many times did we get 2-0 up and we got picked back? And then we were 3-1 down in the 88th minute against Southampton. People forget about this, but I don't forget about this. The performance in that match was absolutely shocking. No confidence, no character, no spirit, no balls. There wasn't one of them getting physical. I mean, I'm stronger than Martin Odegaard. I am stronger than him. You know what I mean? He gets pushed up. Fabio Vieira. God. And the one fella that kept his head, that gets maligned and gets criticism, the one fella that came on and actually played to his potential, even against Brighton when we were getting stuffed, was Reece Nelson. He came on and played his game. He wasn't overawed. The rest of them were like, what was wrong with him, man? He came on and he showed them how. He was taking shots from everywhere. And they were worried. They were like, you can see Brighton were like, oh, this guy's actually direct. He's honest. Horrible, man. Here we go. We bottled it. Yeah, we bottled it, man. It was the biggest turnaround in Premier League history. We went from 8 points in front to 8 points behind when the switch happened. Man City took over. That's a 16-point switch. All right, there's a lot of people coming.
Let me just answer Arsenal Forever, isn't it? Who would we like to see at West Ham with the rice money? I think if you look at it, Harvey Barnes definitely.
Oh yeah, here.
I think he'll add something that we need there. Even Ward Prowse. I mean, like, you know, I think he'll fit nicely in with us.
Harry Kane. Harry Kane back.
Yeah, well, you know, why not? 45
nice
million,
bit of business.
You know, money in the bank. Still have money in the bank.
Win a trophy. Come to West Ham.
You know, yeah, absolutely. One thing we're obviously looking at this Paulina from Fulham, but I think 90 million is a bit too much for him as well. I mean, obviously, you know, Fulham's just overinflating the price there. And dare I say it, I know obviously he's got a bit of gardening leave at the moment, but Tony, he'll be ideal for us. You know, we try to go for him before. So yeah, I think they're the key players. I think we need to kind of get in basically that could possibly help build where we are. I mean, look at you guys. I mean, like, obviously you've just got Havertz, you've obviously got Rice now. You're kind of virtually kind of sorted out the Timber deal, but it's still not enough in my eyes. I think your squad is still too weak. You still need to add. Otherwise, enjoy them first couple of games in the Champions League, because that's all it's going to be for you guys, I think, if you're not too careful.
Yeah, we've been out of the Champions League for a long time. I think people underestimate the jump from the Europa League to the Champions League. I mean, when we came up against the first good team of note, with all due respect to the other teams we played in the Europa League, but the first team of note that we played that were anyway good for me was Sporting, and they put us out. There were better teams. There were better teams than that in the group stages of the Champions League. Much better teams. Like the first time we came up against a team, and the thing is as well, it's random. That's what makes West Ham's win in the Europa Conference League even more admirable, because these games are random. You don't have time to analyse these teams week in, week out like the Premier League. It's a one-off against a team from the continent. You don't know the other managers' game plans really. You don't know their players, what exactly they can do. You don't. It's like a lottery, man. You can't prepare because you don't know what's going to happen. You meet them and you might not have played the team in 10 years. It's a completely different team and a different manager. If we got out of the group stage in the Champions League, I'd be surprised. And I am one of the most positive Arsenal fans you could ever meet. I live my life like that, cups half full. But if we get out, I'd be very happy. I'd be surprised, because it's even getting out of the group stage. It's not going to be easy for us. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a high level. And some of the games we played last year, like I mentioned, we bottled the title there and we lost at the end. Some of the games, some of the performances we put in, even the win against Bournemouth, people were raving about. We were brutal in that game. We were just all at sea. 2-0 down against Bournemouth. The defending, man. Like, look at the highlights of that game, man. Look at the 2 goals they scored. The defending was all at sea. What the hell were they doing?
No, that's the thing, isn't it, Dave? I mean, when you look at, like you said, like the Bournemouth game, the Southampton game, especially, at the end of the day, if they could hold on to their nerves, then that's another game you would have lost. When you look at that Liverpool game, Liverpool coming back into that, you was lucky to get a point out of that. Southampton game, exactly the same. He was lucky to get a point out of that. And even against us, Antonio with his 50 pence head at the end, scoring it over the crossbar. But there's 3 points you managed to get, but really, you could have walked away with nothing. And then it definitely would have been game over earlier. It's one of those, isn't it? Let me just go back to Arsenal forever. I mean, that was quite an interesting one he put there. When you look at Arteta, needs to know and understand how to utilise players for their strengths and how to switch up the style of play.
Let me put that back up there.
When you look at Arteta, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he's got all the hype. He's come from Man City, etc. The one thing he seems to be missing, it's not just about game management. I think Arsenal forever. It's also his man management, how he manages the players. If you look at Saka and that, the poor kids, if you're not too careful in that, in a season or two's time, you're not going to recognise the player. He's going to be burnt out. So you need to manage him a lot better from there. And he seems, Arteta, he falls out of players pretty quickly. You had it with Martinelli. You've had it with Emil Smith-Rowe. I mean, he's like, the forgotten
Guendouzi. He's saying Guendouzi packing, man.
Yeah, he straight away kind of thing. I mean, fun if we was linked with Guendouzi at one point, he would have done something for us as well. So, I mean, it's he needs. I think his game management is one thing, because obviously we know he hasn't got a plan B or a C, and he could even go all the way back to row Z, and he still hasn't got no game plan. But his man management, for me, it seems to be based around one player. Because I don't know if you've noticed it, where there's certain games, Arteta's grabbing hold of Saka around the shoulders, he's rubbing the top of his head, he's all smiles with him. None of the other players got that kind of treatment. What makes him so special compared to all the other players?
Yeah.
There's no difference. It really isn't,
Yeah, he's the golden boy. He's the golden boy.
What's this? Yeah, absolutely.
Arteta is a control freak. Anyway, guys, I'm just going to take this minute, yeah. If you haven't already, check out this man's channel, yeah. Earlydoorsfootballtv. He's only starting out on his journey, guys, as a YouTuber. Subscribe to his channel, guys, and click that notifications bell. I mean, big it up, man. Big it up. Subscribe to his channel, guys, and follow him. He's uploading a lot of content. You know what I mean? Say no more about it, guys. Do your thing. Subscribe to the man's channel. That's all it was about it. Earlydoorsfootballtv. As you can hear from listening to him, guys, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he's got his finger on the pulse. He knows what time it is. For me, anyway, as an Arsenal fan, but I'll just say no. Yeah, McMahon has since already subbed. For me, anyway, as an Arsenal fan, I just say, like, I don't want to hark on about it, but now going into this season, it's going to be 20 years in the new season since we lifted the title. Of course, only one team can win every season, and Arsenal are not guaranteed, regardless of what we've done in the past. We're not guaranteed it. No team has a right to win it like that, as United are finding out after their years of dominance, as Liverpool found out with their period of dominance. No one has a divine right to win it, except Pep and Manchester City, of course. They've done all right for themselves recently. But no team has a divine right to win it, though, guys. And yeah, the last thing I am is an arrogant or cocky Arsenal fan. But seriously, next season is going to be 20 years. And we really, really, really had a very good chance, our best chance in I don't know how long, in 20 years since we won the title. That was our best chance last season. And to throw it away we did, look, it's lucky I'm a man, I've been around the block. Because if I was one of these 19 or 20-year-old Arsenal fans, I would have been devastated because they haven't seen the team be as successful. You know, I remember the doubles. I remember the Invincibles. I remember the greatest day of my life when I saw Dennis Bergkamp play for Arsenal. An incredible player. I mean, the guy was just Bergkamp. They haven't had any of that joy. This isn't about me. This is about the club, I'm just lucky that I've been there to witness all of that. It's the fans now that are coming up. They have been starved of success. They're not seeing anything. You have all the guys that love Mikel Arteta, Arteta sexuals, Arteta fanboys, the plastic fans. They think he's the best thing since the sliced pan. I get it. I dig it. Some of them I think actually fancy him secretly. That's their own business. Nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? Each to his own. But seriously, man, I mean, like, we're having a good transfer window. I'm not going to lie. But we really need to push on. Any of the deadwood that are at the club, we have to sell them. If we can recoup 100, 150 million, people are going to laugh now, guys, come home when I say this. But if we could get Caicedo, imagine him and Rice. Jeez, boys, we'd win the league. I'm convinced of it. Even if we didn't have a top striker, I think if we had the two in the midfield, they would just, a double pivot, we would just excel. Seriously, it would get the best out of Martinelli, the best out of Saka. We have Timber at the back now. It takes a little bit of pressure off the defence, I think. I think Tony's right, though. We're still a bit light. We could be, like, Man City have two teams. And let's face it, if we want to win the league, any team that wants to win the league, United, Liverpool, whatever, they're going to have to overcome City because they will be there again next season. And I think they will win it, more than likely. Look at Haaland.
Absolutely. I mean,
God almighty, man. Haaland, 50 goals. What? He's only warming up.
Yeah.
It was his first season, guys. It was his first season. He scored over 50 goals.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, is it?
Oh, my God.
One Arsenal fan believes whoever stays at top the longest in the league should be champions. This fan base is a big problem. Yeah, I get that, Arsenal forever.
It's where you are in May, man. It's where you are in May.
This is the thing, isn't it? I mean, like, you know, when you look at, like you're saying about with City, look at John Stones. Pep puts him in the midfield.
Wow.
And when I look at the last 3 or 4 games, the man's playing Brazilian football. He's, you know, doing pirouettes on the ball, back heel flicks and tricks. You could imagine him being like that as a defender. He was always rosette football, but suddenly he's become, you know, Brazilian overnight.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I mean, and composure. I mean, he was up against some good players, but he wasn't overawed. He was against Real Madrid. They absolutely destroyed them at the Etihad. I know some Real Madrid fans, the father-in-law of my ex-wife, he is a Real Madrid fan. and he's living with his Spanish wife over in Venezuela. And so we're texting each other still, and he'd be like, they were disgusted by the. They were absolutely sick as dogs after that 4-0 at the Etihad, man. They were just like whipped. Their tails were between their legs and they were like that in the corner, man. Seriously. They got absolutely. And then people maybe, you know what? I don't want to sound like a fool, but when City beat Real.
Well, I wait for David. I mean, Arsenal forever. I mean, that's shocking, really. You're saying Benjamin White didn't even know who Patrick Vieira was. I mean, wow, that's wow, just wow.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah. But I don't know.
I just think this is sense. Dave's got Arsenal Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Dave's got Arsenal Wi-Fi. I need to actually let me see. Can I? Yeah. I leave it at that one for a while. I've got one upstairs and I've got one downstairs, so I'll leave it at that for a while.
Yeah.
If it acts up, I'll switch it. But Dave has bottled it. Yeah. Go on, do your worst. Do your worst. Do your worst. All right. Hullabaloo. I think we've had too many people stuck in that Invincible era. Yeah, that's true. We're always talking about the Invincible era. I mean, come on, give it a rest, guys. That's 20 years ago. Football has changed, and Arsenal have too. We spent 20 years living on the Wenger golden era. And Wenger too, man, as much as look, you have to give the man respect, but he wasn't like Alex Ferguson. Ferguson was winning right up until the day he left with Van Persie. When they took Van Persie from us in 2013, won the league in 2013. It's been 10 years since then, but he was winning right up until the end. Whereas Wenger, he lost it halfway through. And all those games where we got hammered in the Champions League against Bayern, every year the quarterfinal and we go to the Allianz. God save us, man. It was like 4-0 at half time. I mean, and Wenger was just on the sideline, motionless. I mean, we just got. So yeah, Wenger, man, big him up, man. But he overstayed his welcome too. Dave, I don't want to sound like a creep saying that, but
on that, Dave, when you think about it, I mean, when you think Wenger came in, yes, he changed the style of Arsenal, the way he used to play, etc., and stuff like that. But do you feel them invincible years and obviously like how he kind of tailed off afterwards? Is that because obviously that was a kind of George Graham's defence and the way he built the team? You know,
yeah, you mean
he was quite solid as a unit with George Graham. You knew what you was going to get. You know, you play on George Graham's side, you know you're going to have a hard game, etc. But as Wenger came on, yes, he changed the way you played football. You know, the eating methods and things like that, if room was true. But as it went, carried on throughout the years, like Hullabaloo put there, and that it suddenly went down, and that kind of leads on to this thing. How many old people, Arsenal fans, still turn to this day say we are a big club? No disrespect to you guys, you are in certain respects, but are you really a big club? Can you really attract that type of player now? I know you're going to turn and say to me, "Yeah, we've got Declan Rice now." That's your argument, but that's probably the only argument.
Yeah, but we haven't. Yeah, we haven't. We obviously we don't have the pull that we did before. I mean, and it's not just because we haven't been in the Champions League in a while. I mean, we went from getting players like Alexis Sanchez even. Like for me, I've seen the man play, and my God, he's a bit of a muppet when he left for United. Yeah, but as a player, he was just unbelievable. I seen the man live. I mean, unbelievable. I seen him in Champions League. He was unreal.
Yeah, good player.
Unbelievable player. I mean, head and shoulders above what we have now, in my opinion. Different class. But we can't even attract a player like that, I would say, anymore. He was incredible. Obviously, we're not going to attract a player like Bergkamp or Thierry Henry. We're not going to be able to attract a Patrick Vieira or an Emmanuel Petit. Like you said, we have definitely gone backwards a little bit. I agree with that. We're not. Look, we got 13 league titles. We've never won the Champions League. I think we've won maybe the UEFA Cup once and the Cup Winners' Cup once, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Of course, all the FA Cups, but we've 13 league titles. The last one was 20 years ago. We went the whole season unbeaten. We're not like Real Madrid with 12 or 13 Champions League titles, guys. Okay, not many teams are. But Liverpool and United, in fairness, have won a fair share. Even Celtic have won it, I think, twice. Nottingham Forest have won it twice. Champions League twice. Definitely, no, I think you're right. I agree with you, man. Look, everyone is entitled to their opinion in this channel, but I have to agree with you. I think we have a big fan base. We have a big stadium. We have a lot of supporters. But so do a lot of other teams in world football, like Bayern, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester United, Liverpool. I don't know about, like, seriously, we're not anymore. I mean, Chelsea eclipsed us Champions League, European wise. They have been the London team in the last 10 years at least. It has been Chelsea. Okay, so we're behind them in the pecking order. Last season we outshone them, but it has been Chelsea in London. And now you have Manchester City are the force to be reckoned with. They have absolutely put United in the shade, and they have put everybody in the shade. Absolutely. Liverpool can't match them. United can't match them, and they won't match them again next season, guys. Like, let's not fool ourselves here. Yeah? I think Newcastle are going to pose a threat. I think Newcastle have got something going on. They're actually quite a good team. They can beat anyone, man. They can beat, and they're dangerous. They have financial muscle. Yeah, they have a lot of clout. But I think you're right. What you're saying about
them, they're being quite clever about it. They know they can't spend big because obviously what they spent over the last 2 seasons. But I think they're talking about 75 million unless they sell. So Tonali is going to be a great addition into that team. It's what they do in the next couple of seasons. That's going to be the crucial part. As for Chelsea, when you think of that, he's got to recoup that money he's outlaid. I mean, when you think about it, Arteta virtually is must be on par now. What he spent the same amount as Todd Bowley is 653 million. I mean, that's a lot of money. A lot of money for very little results. And obviously, it's all about results these days.
Yeah, and the trophy that he won, I think the FA Cup, that was with Emery's team. The players that he found there were from Unai Emery.
Yeah,
Emery's a
good
good coach,
my brother-in-law turns when it says you won 2 cups, the FA Cup and the Community Shield. But in his eyes, you've won 2 cups. That's the delusion itself. But Arsenal Phil's got a good point here.
The size of
the trophy next season.
Yeah.
That'll be 1 in 5 years, and the money he has spent is not acceptable. He has to go. Arteta's got more lives than a black cat. Yeah.
He has the board on his side, obviously. You know what I mean? He has the board on his side. Otherwise, he still wouldn't be in a position of power like that. 1,000,000% true. And that's the invincible era that created us and played the league out of us being this massive club. Exactly, and we're not. I mean, we need to go back to basics anyway. I mean, last season we should have solved the league. I mean, it was ours to lose and we lost it. We were in pole position regardless, and we just threw it away like that at the end. There was definitely a lack of mental strength and resolve in some of those games. We had to dig deep, but we got lucky along the way because, like, Liverpool kind of came unstuck. United had their problems. Nobody was really firing, and we found ourselves in top of the league for a long time. Once Man City got it together in that final phase, it was done and dusted. You know what I mean? And I don't like the way the way the team went out with the attitude of just rolling over, and they did just roll over. I mean, say what you like. Does anybody have any idea? Like, I mean, think about it now for a second, okay? Do you know the lives that these players have? Do you know the amount of money that they earn? Have you seen their wives? Have you seen what they're driving? I know it's not the be all and end all, guys, but they don't have to worry about money, not like us, yeah? They don't have to worry about money for the rest of their lives. They never need to have to worry about a job or a pension or this or that. You know, they can move to LA tomorrow if they want. They can go to Inter Miami and play for David Beckham next season if they want. Does anybody realize, like how can they go on the field and put in a performance like that and go home and enjoy the comforts. It's like, who cares about the Rolex? Who cares about the car? Who cares about that apartment? Who cares about their wags? Geez, boys, do you want to win the league or not? I mean, who cares about? Nothing is important. Nothing is more important. I mean, and then just after we bottled it, the club were coming up with all the merch. You think I'm going to head up? I was going to save up a bit of money, and my birthday's in December, and I was going to head up to the Armory. I'm working close to the Emirates, so I'm working close to Islington. I was going to head up to the Emirates, and I was going to buy some merch for myself. You know, it's my birthday. Why not? You know what I mean? Boys, I'm not going to spend my money in there now, because that seems to be more important. Like Ian Wright spinning the merch. I mean, the problem I have is when all of this was happening, when we bottled the league and when we were going under, there was too many former players, not just Ian Wright, yeah. Not going to pick on that man. Great player for us. Played for West Ham too, right? But there was too many former players, quiet. They should have been speaking out about what was going on. They should have been speaking out. What's going to happen? They're going to get a little bit criticised in the newspapers. And okay, some of them are on the take. They're getting paid by the club. But they should have spoke out about what was going on. Former players, people that have followers on Twitter, people that have followers on social media, speak out about what was going on at the club. The way we bottled the league at the end was an absolute disgrace. They can't be relied upon. They cannot be relied upon. It was embarrassing. Odegaard, all the talk about him. He doesn't have it. He's no Roy Keane. He's no Patrick Vieira. He's not up to it. Saka the same. Love Martinelli to bits, and I love Saka to bits too. Odegaard, yeah. But they all bottled it, man. Ramsdale got very nervous. Taking crosses, the ball coming in from deep, he started to get panicky. You know what I mean? It was like it spread through the team like a tidal wave. Thomas Partey taking liberties with Declan Rice in the midfield against West Ham, losing the ball. You remember? I mean, Declan Rice is breathing down your neck.
No, I'll never forget, you know.
Declan Rice is breathing down your neck. He's been on it all season. And there's Thomas Partey waltzing past him like he's not even there. All he did was put his foot in, win the ball, played it quick, and you were in. Seriously, man, we had too many fellas there. Just, I don't know what happened to them. They just felt, look, I could talk about it till the cows come home. But honestly, going into next season, we're going to have these 3 players. But something has to be done. I mean, I hope Arteta said to the players, he needs to take responsibility too, but I hope he said to the players, that wasn't acceptable, guys, what he did at the end of last season. I mean, that was disgraceful the way they finished the end of the season. Like I said, if they went to the last game and we lost by a point, oh my God. The way we capitulated though, man, come on. Like, I mean, seriously.
You got to remember, you did exactly the same thing the season before. You had games in hand, chance of finishing 3rd or 4th, and again, you threw them away as well. So I think it comes down to, you know, you've got an exciting kind of young squad, but the problem is there's not enough experience in that squad to help them youngsters develop. And that's why I think if you look at teams like City, even you think back in the day when Ferguson with Man United, as much as you might say he's Fergie babes, you had the experienced guys there and that to kind of remind them every now and then, hey, you may be good, you've still got to do your work. And unfortunately, with the Arsenal youngsters and that, they've not had that. I mean, it goes back to what Arsenal Ferguson said with the the management, football management. You need that kind of balance, and that's something you've been lacking.
And we don't have that mix. Yeah, we don't have the mix, like you said, of the experienced heads that have been around the block. Like I don't want to keep going back to this team, but when we first won the league in '98, what a mix! I mean, we had the back 4, we had Winterburn and Dixon, and we had Keown and we had Adams. I mean, they were Arsenal to the core. You know what I mean? Then you had the new bit of French flair, as they call it, come in. You had Petit Vieira, Henry, this and that was going on. Mark Overmars, Dennis Bergkamp, Nicola Anelka. I mean, okay, that was different. They're completely like, these guys are just head and shoulders above the players we have now. If I hear one more person compare Martin Odegaard to Dennis Bergkamp, I swear to God, Don't embarrass yourselves. Guys, it's embarrassing. Comparing Odegaard to Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp is one of the greatest players that ever lived. He got in Pele's top 100 living players. Say no more about it. You know what I mean? If they mention Odegaard's name in the same breath as Bergkamp's again, man, I'm just gonna honestly, seriously, guys. But like I was saying, man, I'm having a mad rant there now. I'm going off the point of it. But we
No, I
definitely
mean, like, you know, I could see there's a valid comment here from Hula Baloo kind of thing when you're saying about, obviously, when you look at some of the players not caring. There's a majority of them, unfortunately, and it's not just Arsenal fans. I think you got criticised, was it a couple of months back, with that girl when they came out and completely kind of blanked that girl, the youngster. She wanted a signature, and I think they just went past it, etc.
Yeah.
And you try to make up with her by, you know, realising what mistake you made. But you look at some of the players that, you know, these days they want extortionate money. They come off the coach, etc. They got a little kind of wash bag in their hand. They got the earpods in, etc. And they've come off as if they've had an argument with the world and his wife. Not being funny, you get paid so much. I've got a fellow that lives in the cul-de-sac where I'm hearing that. He said if he was paid that much money, like, you know, he's a staunch Arsenal fan. He said he'd be doing cartwheels out the thing, start bollock naked, because he's saying like how much, you know, to get paid that money to pay for that for his club. Yeah, great. But some of them do come off as if, like, you know, they're too privileged. But
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They do. Definitely they do. But I think also they maybe lose touch with actually the fan that works a 9 to 5 and can maybe afford a ticket to go see a game once in a while.
Totally agree on that. I remember I'm going back now. Let's see now. Oh God, jeez, I'm going to show my age here. It's got to be at least 25 years ago. A youngster, he signed for QPR. He got a pro contract, put into big money. First thing he did, he bought himself a Golf GTI. Impressed his mates, lost the car around a bend and ended up crashing it. He was killed.
Wow.
The other one was, you know, had serious injuries, and the one in the back seats managed to survive. But that's what money can do to them sometimes, and I think that's the problem as well with youngsters. You know, they're given this big money, but are they actually is their welfare looked after? You know, do they realise? And as you said, history of any football club, it should be the case of, like, you know, you're getting this money, but don't forget them people that's sitting on them seats there. They're helping pay your wages. They're helping kind of keep the legacy of your club going because of that. Do you realise what it's all about? And I think some of them, unfortunately, they don't. Like, you know, when we mentioned earlier on, you know, not knowing Rocco. You know, when you look at someone like that, how can you forget a player like that?
Yeah, it's, oh man, seriously. I mean, I agree with some of the things that Hula Baloo is saying, though, right? Just 1 second. He's saying a couple of things here too, yeah. Yeah, like this comment, I agree with that too. Yeah, what I was saying there about the players, do they care? But we can't honestly sit here and think none of those players don't care. Their whole life from age of 5, 6 has been about winning football matches. Maybe the inexperience cost us last season. I think maybe you can say that there. Maybe the inexperience cost us. But some of the performances were, I mean, just not up to scratch. I mean, the mental strength before the game, the will to win. We had the quality on the field to put these teams away. Yeah? In Southampton, we got to put them away. You know what I mean? The way we went out, the way we started games, it was just uncertain, unsure, not commanding the game, not taking over.
No.
Yeah, we were.
Because when you look, that was the thing, though. Because when you look at your season started last season and that, you know, you basically hit the road running. Like, there's no two ways about it. You played, you know, you was actually kind of, there was a hunger, there was desire.
That's
the
true.
Team,
that's true.
You know, had the confidence. They were playing some good, attractive football. There was a spirit there that they weren't going to let any team get in. And yeah, you know, I've already said it. You've just kind of reiterated it. It's the fact of being a young side. It's where they lack that kind of mentality, that depth to kind of carry on. And, you know, as you know, the old saying, you know, a football game lasts 90 minutes. A season, you've got to be competitive all the way through. So yeah, he's disappeared. So let's have a look there. What are the other kind of comments? Arsenal deserve to challenge and win the biggest trophies every year. Problem is the fans are happy to finish top four and pretend their players are the best. I think that goes with any team, really, Arsenal forever. You obviously want your team to do well. I mean, I know we did, considering the last 2 seasons we had. Last season, it just wasn't for us, and we managed to just finish 15th. And I think we was quite fortunate to do that, really. Breaking Arsenal agreed 40 million for Timber. So that's going to be a good addition for your defence. It'll be Arsenal forever. No, we shouldn't be challenging every year. That's the invincible era that believes that, yeah, I agree on that. We want them to be challenging, but it's not a given. It's not carved in stone. Exactly right. Every team's got to fight for it, Even me, I've managed Sunday football as well as semi-pro, and one of my players summed it up easily. You've got 2 or 3 teams that are going to finish up at the top, and everyone else is fighting it out for the rest. And it's what you do this season as an Arsenal Football Club. How ambitious and what desire and strength have you got? Obviously, Rice is going to add something to you, to your team. There's no 2 ways about it. It's how it filters through the team. I mean, when you look at it, for me, your best player was Ramsdale. If it wasn't from him between the sticks, I think you would have lost a hell of a lot more games than you actually did.
I'd agree with that. He was a hero for us last season, man. Definitely, he had heroics. Yeah, he played fantastic for us, man. Seriously, he did. But you used to coach. You used to coach semi-pro.
The working man has been priced out of the game.
You used to manage a semi-pro team or coach them. All right, guys, I'm on my own there just for a second. I think Tony's having some technical difficulties. But yeah, Arsenal for everyone with the comment, our ambition died when we knocked down Highbury. Fact. Yeah, we were moved to the Emirates. We were meant to be doing all these big, there was a lot of big things meant to be happening for us. And that just didn't happen in the end, unfortunately. It just didn't happen in the end. In the end, guys. Very disappointing, of course. I mean, needless to say. It is what it is, That was tough for us, definitely. Tough to take. Yeah, we're meant to be pushing on to this bigger stadium. The Emirates, things are meant to go right for us. Agreed, that's top level league sports. It's fucking hard, plus all the human emotions involved with it. Yeah, true. I want Arsenal back to winning titles like we did in 89, 91, 98, 2002, 2004. Jeez, I mean, 2004, man. So we did that long ago. 1998, I can remember that like it was yesterday. That was 25 years ago. What? Jeez, 25 years ago, man. Oh my god. Where does time go? Where does time go, man? It just disappears down the toilet bowl. But Arsenal's title challenge. Arsenal forever. What happened before 1989? Yeah, Anfield 89 by... Yeah, before 89, we won a double as well, I think, in 70-71. We won the league and cup double. We beat Liverpool in the cup final. I think that was 1970-71. 1979, we won the FA Cup as well. We won the FA Cup final. We won a couple of titles along the way, But yeah, definitely. One thing led to another. Here's what it is. Just 1 second, guys. Let me go back to the stream. See if Tony's alive. He's gone for a while, but I'm sure he'll be back, guys. We won the double in 71. Yeah, 71, yeah. That's what I said, yeah. 71. Charlie George in the cup final against Liverpool. You know what I mean? 98 and 2002. Exactly 18 years before we won a league. Tony's on his way back in, guys. Just 1 second. He's coming back in. Our history is a timeline of sporadic success. Oh, hello. You get to keep £10 as well. You get to keep that £10. It's a win-win situation. Huh? It's a win-win situation, man. But you get to keep your £10. Yeah? No problem. Enjoy. You know what I mean? Have a beer on Declan Rice and the old school gunner. Yeah, you keep to get your £10 by. But thank you for being a man, yeah, and putting your money where your mouth is, man. You manned up. You made the offer. Arsenal have signed Rice. You will always be respected in my eyes, man, because you manned up and you put your money where your mouth was, yeah. You're willing to lay it all on the line by it and back it up. You know what I mean? With your hard-earned cash. So big up to you, man. I am monetized, guys. That brings me to it. I am monetized. So if you want to donate a bit of money, please do. But not Hullabaloo, because he has donated already to me, as I remember correctly. But if anyone else wants to donate to me, guys, I am monetized. Just click the super thanks option, the super chat, and do yourselves a favor. Big up. History is all we have. Jesus. Things getting very, very depressing. But look, it is what it is. We did what we could. We did what we could along the way. We should have won the Champions League in 2006. That will always be the one for me that kind of sticks in the throat. We should have won the Champions League in 2006. That for me was a real sickener. I will always think of this game. I will never forget that game as long as I live. I will never forget it. I was actually training that night, believe it or not, because I was actually going for a black belt in karate, and it meant a lot to me. So I came in, like, I think after 20 minutes, and yeah, I'll never forget it, you know. But that was just incredible, you know. I will never forget that game, never, as long as I live. What a game! What can I say, guys? What a match! Incredible stuff. But yeah, the way we lost was just, you know, one day I saw Jens Lehmann then in Switzerland. Actually, there was a game organized between the Swiss legends and the German legends, and he came with the Germans legends team. He actually played a striker in the second half. He played as goalkeeper in the first half, striker in the second half. And I was trying to get his autograph and trying to call him over, but some of the other fans were making fun of him, so he wouldn't he wouldn't talk to us anymore after that, because there was these idiots in the crowd making fun of him. Tony's going to pop on in another while again, guys. He's just having difficulties. Won't be too long, yeah. We're going to talk some more football. What? Nah, man. Nah, but you shouldn't have done that, man. Seriously. Oh, you shouldn't have done that, man. Ah, Jesus, man. Times are tough for everyone, yeah. You shouldn't have done that, man. It's a lot of money. Seriously. And you won. You know what I mean? You won anyway, but it was win-win for both of us, I suppose, man. Win-win for both. That, to be honest, I was happy about the fact Declan Rice is coming to the team. But let me ask you this, Hullabaloo, yeah? I'm actually feeling embarrassed now, yeah. You made that donation, yeah. But thank you for that, yeah. But I actually feel, yeah. Thank you, man, yeah. Feel a little bit embarrassed by that, but thank you, yeah. But let me ask you this: how good do you think Declan Rice is? How good is he? I mean, this is a question for all of you guys. How good is Declan Rice? I'm still hurting from Gaza free kick against us in the FA Cup semi-final 91. But that was one of the greatest goals I've ever seen. You could have put 2 goalkeepers in there and he would have stuck it into the back of the net. That was one of the greatest goals I have ever seen in my life. Paul Gascoigne is an absolute, this player, I mean, he is, man, my opinion, regardless of who they have playing for them now in the England team, my opinion, okay, you have Bobby Charlton now. Bobby Charlton, you have Bobby Moore. Okay, these guys are Bobby Moore. Yeah, I'm not even going to go into it, how good this guy was. But Paul Gascoigne, for me, is one of the greatest England players that ever lived. This man, what he could do on a football field, what a player. I mean, when he was on it, man, this guy was, and he was on it almost every game, guys. That free kick, 2 goalkeepers couldn't have kept that out. It's unbelievable goal, man. It's a few coffees in a week, mate. Yeah, true, but it's your hard-earned money, yeah? Dave, is it true that YouTube take 45% of the super chats? No. Let's see, they take maybe... What they do is they don't take much from the super chats. My experience of it. They maybe take 10% less. But what they take a lot of, I think, is 45%. They take a lot of your money that you receive from your advertisements. Not really from the super chats, it's from the advertisements. So I have advertisements running through my channel, of course. Like you see all over the videos, yeah? Like, you know, they're all over the YouTube videos. Yeah? So when you look at that, they take a lot of money, I think 45% from your ads. The ads that are viewed, that's where they cash in, yeah. Not really from the super chats. I think they take a little, because what I have made and what has come true, I could see the difference. I could see the difference. Maybe when I earned £8, I got maybe when someone gave me £8, I got maybe 6.57. But where they really cash in is the advertisements. You know what I mean? That's where they really cash in. It's the ads on the videos. All right, I hope I clears it up. But thank you again for Hullabaloo, guys. He gave a £9.99 donation, and that is more than generous. So thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. So the next person now that gives one, I want it to be for £100. I'm joking with you guys, obviously. I should be back on shortly. I'm still hurting from the Champions League final. Yeah, like I said, man, that night, yeah, I was going for the black belt in karate. So honestly, that meant a lot to me too, yeah. So I went training with dedication. The lads in the club were surprised to see me come training. They were like, geez, he's really, he's dedicated, you know. So then after that, I went back, and after that, I went back and I met up with the lads in the city centre, you know, when I was living back in Ireland in Cork. So I went into one of the bars, Waxy's sports bar, yeah, Munster bar, and I went in there, and yeah, I'll never forget that final. Yeah. I will never forget that. As one of the lads watching it, he's a United fan, yeah, but a friend of mine at the time, as he said about the game afterwards, he said before the sending off, Arsenal were given as good as they were getting. The sending off, just, you know, not making excuses, but that's the way it was. Gaza free kick was good, but I think Seaman should have saved that. Yeah, maybe, but man, it was a wicked free kick, man. Wow. And I'm not bigging up Seaman, yeah, I'm covering his ass. Ferocious free kick. But sometimes Seaman did have a habit, all right, I will say, of getting caught out. Like, you remember the chip from Naeem from the halfway line. Of course, Naeem had to be a former Spurs player, of course. That had to be the case. But the chip from him from the halfway line, Seaman had sometimes his concentration would wane. But look, you wouldn't expect a guy in the last minute of a European final to chip the ball in from the halfway line. I mean, you would not expect that. Hullabaloo. I will give you 100 super chat when Arsenal win a league title. So in another 20 years, I'll be cashing in on that. Nice. 20 years. 20 years of pain. We'll make up a song like kind of like the Three Lions, 30 years of hurt. We'll make up a song about that for Arsenal. I'll actually write the song. It's going to be a rap song, obviously. I was in Paris watching it in the bar. Yeah? Jesus, man. That was a heartbreaking game. Seriously. That was a heartbreaking match. I'll never forget it. What a game. Let me just check there and see his Earlydoorsfootballtv. I should be back on shortly. Lap into top 10. Alright, big up himself. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. Give anyway from a super chat from Hullabaloo. You surprised me, man. That was nice of you. Yeah. Big up. Ronaldinho free kick against Seaman in the World Cup 2002. Did Ronaldinho mean to do that? Let me actually watch that now. Let me have a look at that one there. Just gonna jog my memory here, guys. Maybe you want to do this. Let me see. I think that's Tony jumping back. Yep, he's back. Welcome back. Yeah,
Sorry
say no
about that.
more.
Yeah. It's horrible when it decides to do its own thing and just jump into updates.
Yeah. Mine wanted to do them earlier, but I stopped it until later. Yeah, mine wanted to jump into them
mine have got notification, David. Didn't even do that. It just went bang.
Yeah, anyway, to answer your question, someone was asking me there, to answer their question, yeah, I think Ronaldinho did mean to score that goal against David Seaman in the World Cup 2002. I believe he did actually mean to do that. The guy was just unerring. I mean, he was unerring with his shots. I mean, if he wanted that as a cross, it would have been on the striker's head. Ronaldinho was unerring, you know what I mean, from different positions. I'll never forget the goal he scored against Chelsea. The little feint, and then he just, with a little tap of the ankle, inside the post and out of reach of the keeper. I mean, and the ball just was dead when it went in. It just went in and stopped. It was like the power was just bang in. There was no kind of movement. The goalie was just, and that was the best one. It kind of curved out and curved back inside the post, which was a flick of his ankle. And the defender was in front of him, like, Ronaldinho, man. Greatest, what a player. When he did it for like a short length of time, but for that period, he was, my God, man. Yeah, and as one of the guys in Centre Work, as a manager said in work to me afterwards, he read an article. He was going on like with 3 women. I was like, I can believe it. I was like, Jesus. Yeah, man. Yeah, the boss in work was about 65, like back in the day, just about to retire. Wow. And he was saying, oh, Ronaldinho with the 3 boards in the hotel room. He was like, oh, that's some good going. And I was like, Jesus, what the hell is he talking about? And I was thinking, yeah. Well, he was a bit of a party boy back then, yeah, Ronaldinho. He was a party boy too, back in the day. Great player, though. Big up himself, man. All right. Hullabaloo devastated, especially when got lost getting back to my hotel and had to go into a police station in some quiet village asking for directions. Yeah, back in 2006, we're talking about the Champions League final. Now, you've been away for a while, Tony. Back in 2006, the Champions League final. Yeah, we were talking about like Arsenal being a big club. Yeah, and then people said like Wenger should have left after we lost the final in 2006 against Barcelona. Yeah. Very unlucky to lose that final, man. Jens Lehmann, you know, for me it was what was that player playing for Barca? He decided the game. He made the difference in the final. Say Etu was very dangerous in the second half. I remember some of his runs. Yeah, some of his runs from deep were very, very good. And he just gave them that extra impetus in the last 15, 20 minutes that decided the game. And like he drew the foul from Lehman, I think. He scored the penalty. It's just Etu. He just had the skills, man, to unlock the defense. He just,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was a painful one.
great.
Etu was very good at the end. Etu was a brilliant player. I got an E in French GCSE, but you were over in France. Oh my God. Yeah, too much time spent with the women, eh? Not enough time spent learning French. You were learning something else. All right, we're going to keep it clean. I'm going to get banned off YouTube. Tony, welcome back, fella. Guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to his channel, guys. All right, subscribe to the man's channel. It's a little bit out of shot now, Tony, since you last did it.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I can see in the background.
Channel,
I think there's still something going on in the background, I think, but it seems to be working fine so far. So I'm not going to touch anything at this stage.
But guys, it's Earlydoorsfootballtv is his channel, yeah. Earlydoorsfootballtv. So come check him out. Give him a subscribe. Give him a like. And yeah, let's get him to 1,000 subscribers. Oh yeah. Yeah, but definitely, like what I learned from my channel, man. I'm not going to quote. I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to say I know everything. But what I learned just from 2018. From 2018, I started. May 2018. What I learned along the way was I was just uploading videos. Like I had a professional camera, yeah, so I would upload them.
Okay. Yeah.
That is fun. And if you go to the Emirates Stadium or you go to the West Ham Stadium and you do like, West Ham Stadium tour, club shop tour, Hullabaloo, just subscribe to you, Tony. You got one. But if I go to if you do that, right, and you do a video of the club tour, club shop, stadium tour, that is going to be popular when you upload it to a certain extent. But the way forward is really streaming and collaborating, I just did mine through absolutely hard graft. People think I'm absolutely crazy. But how I actually got my 1,000 subscribers, okay, now I have 1,700, but back in the day, how I did it, guys, I don't think you can do it anymore because there's a limit on it, but I sent out 10,000 messages, copy and paste, over 2 months. I did 8 hours a day. I was doing it 8 hours a day for 2 months, 10,000 messages, and I got back about 860 that would subscribe to my channel. I picked one of the big Instagram accounts, and they had 35,000 Arsenal fans. So I copy and paste. Some people were like abusive, critical, not so nice to me, but majority of people, sure, no problem. And they subscribed. So that helped me get to the 1,000. I know you have to do everything you can as a small YouTuber. Now I was learning as I was going along. Nobody was there to kind of, I wasn't touching many people, so I didn't have the kind of experience. So I had to kind of trial and error. It was trial and error all the way. But the thing is, when I got to the 1,000, that was all well and good. But a lot of them were like dead subscribes. Now, they were real fans that subscribed to me. But they weren't really accepting the notifications when I went live. So I had the numbers to get monetized, but I did not have the actual following. So I had done it one way, but not maybe the way it was trial and error. But now, of course, it's building. Now it's building naturally. But back then, it was just trial and error, man. Seriously. And I mean, you've got to do everything you can as a small YouTuber to get yourself,
I'll take that.
That's how I did it, man. That's how I did it. But I don't think you can do that anymore now. Now I have business cards made up as well. I go around the hotel where I work. I go around the hotel where I work going, yeah, you like football? Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to be cheeky, yeah? I got 8A. My parents were so proud of me, and they realized it stood for absent. Oh, no. 8 absents, huh? That's terrible. These things happen, huh? Hullabaloo. Yeah. All right. Tony got a subscriber, man. Good. But listen, I'm going to ask a question, all right? I was asking some of the Arsenal fans, but I think they got some of the boys on the stream, I think they got carried away. How good is Declan Rice? I mean, how good is the guy actually? I mean, what are we talking here? I mean, when you look at his stats, they have all these Opta stats the last week with the whole Man City coming in for him, Arsenal coming in, with the transfer. They had all the Opta stats. Like, tackles made, possession won back in key areas, runs. I mean, he's number one in all of those areas in his position in the league, even more than Caicedo. So how good is he really? I mean, what can Arsenal expect? I mean, the thing I like, he's got Premier League experience.
He's got that beyond himself. He's quite mature for a player of his age as well. And in some respects, as much as he's a defensive midfielder, he is a box-to-box player. You know, the interceptions that he can cut out. He's got an eye for tracking a player and making sure that he can intercept them early. He's just got that stature about him. He's going to give you that kind of that missing link that you've got at the moment in your squad. So he's going to offer you something that you've clearly been missing. And the main thing is when you look at it, he can score a goal as well when he needs to. And I think if you look at with your team, the fact that you can play attractive football and you kind of are more of a pressing team, it can only benefit you as well, and it'll probably benefit his style as well. Funny because I was talking to someone the other day. It's like what does Arsenal offer that City don't, and vice versa. So when you look at the fact that with Arsenal, we know he's probably going to be guaranteed first team football. I think he will become your club captain. He's obviously going to become a future England captain as well. For City, what he would offer you going from there, would he have got as much game time that he would do with Arsenal? I doubt it very much. But then we've got to look at Grealish. His first season there, he hardly got a look in. And then the second season, as we saw last season, he got more game time. But the one thing I think Rice would have got from City would be the ultimate coach in Pep. He would have kind of improved the player better than what he is now. So there's that kind of thing. But I think for the fact of, as we know, he wanted to stay in London, he's going to get more game time with you guys. And I think if you look at it, that's probably going to be the best thing. Is he going to win cups with you guys? Maybe not for this season. Maybe, the season or season after that, you probably will get something, especially if you kind of increase the squad depth, like I mentioned earlier on. That's one thing you seem to be lacking is that depth in your team. And not just for, for the football, it's going to be for the cups. It's going to be for the title itself. For me, are you going to achieve the same thing as you did last year? I don't think you will. I think you're going to probably be roughly around about third or fourth, but that's my opinion. I know it's probably wrong, but that's my opinion. Unless you kind of get additional players that's going to strengthen your side, because I think you might be in agreement. I don't know, you may not be. If you look at last season, when it comes to what's on the bench and the camera panned around and you look at it, and it's like, well, there's no game changers there. They're just going to be coming on like for like. There's no one's going to kind of come in and hit the ground and lift your team to get the 3 points out of that game. So, yeah, but no, I think Ross, he's going to be a good addition for you. I mean, like I said earlier, Arteta gave him his dues. He's stuck at it, and he's stuck at it, and he's stuck at it, and he's got the man. He's got, you've got a great team, team player and you should enjoy what you're going to get. Simple as that. Like I said earlier, though, look after him. He's a strong lad. He's a faithful lad as well. I know some people that don't like him, but for me, no, he's going to be a great addition for you guys. So you should do well with him in your team.
Yeah, thanks for that, man. That gave us a bit of an insight into the player, yeah, because obviously you know more about him than. Of course, he's a household name at this point. Like, people have seen him at international level playing for England. They know what he's about. The thing is, he's proven quality. And I don't want to go back on a point, but that is why I couldn't understand Arsenal's first two bids. You can lowball certain players, but you don't lowball a player of his quality, especially when we actually need him. Like, especially when this was our first chance to actually get a player that is much sought after by other clubs. And the player actually wanted to come to Arsenal, but the offers we made were... I was delighted that West Ham dismissed him out of hand. I remember one of the offers 2 hours later. No, man. I was happy about that because, I mean, poor Declan Rice, what did it mean to him? I mean, he was on England duty. Things were slowed up with the transfer a little bit. But, I mean, to make offers like that was just But yeah, it's good insight, man, what you had about what he's actually going to bring to Arsenal, where we can play him. Of course, you must feel a little bit sad that he's.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, you don't like when you look at
you're going to miss a player like that.
I mean, when you think that he got rejected by Chelsea, we took him and developed him into what he is. And there's one thing you could say about West Ham, as much as we've always finished mid to bottom end of the table, the one thing we've always done is produce English players into multi-million pound players, and England
Joe
players
Cole,
more than anything else.
Wasn't he at West Ham? Joe Cole.
Joe Cole. Yeah,
Joe
Cole and there, Frank Lampard Jr. there, etc. You had Glenn Johnson as well. So there's a few.
Was Jamie Redknapp involved as well, or was it just Harry was coaching West Ham? Wasn't Harry Redknapp involved at West Ham?
Jamie was.
Jamie
there was
Redknapp?
talk to him coming to us at one point.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. There was talk to him coming, but that was more the connection with Bournemouth that Jamie Redknapp was involved. But
you
Harry,
remember? Do you remember that interview where a reporter referred to him as a wheeler dealer? He's like, "Excuse me, I'm not a wheeler dealer." He stormed off. You remember that one, man? That was so funny. Wheeler dealer. You says, man.
He was. I mean, with Harry and that, he was hooker by crook. If you could kick a ball in that, then it'd be half decent. I mean, there's hullabaloo's put there. I mean, Lampard. I worked with a kid when I was at West Ham myself, and he was still out there 2 hours after all the other players had gone, still kicking ball, still learning the free kick, still learning how to hit between the sticks. Yeah, so he was committed. I mean, the one thing I remember his old man said at one time, Lampard Senior, you may have my name, but you've got to earn your stripes. And give him his dues, he did. Yeah, definitely did.
He's a very, very, very good player. And the thing is about Lampard as well, he could supply the finish. When he got into the danger zone, close to the box, he could score. Yeah. He did it regularly. He got the important goal. A bit like Roy Keane, he would lead by example when necessary and actually finish the move. He was a good player, man. He had a thunderous strike. But he was very, very good, man. Very, very good. To be honest, he's a player I liked. And I'm an Arsenal fan, but he's actually a player I liked and respected because you can't deny his ability, his work ethic. And he wasn't a dirty player. No.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, when you look at
none of that
you got Gerrard and Lampard there. And, when you look at there was a competition between them two, who was the better out of the two. When you look at Rice, there is no other one that really competes with him, Yeah. Lampard was quite loyal, obviously, when his dad and Harry Redknapp kind of got booted out of West Ham and that, he moved on. And with Rice, he's fairly loyal. And when you look at it, he admittedly said he loved the club, he loved West Ham fans. But he'll do whatever is going to come along, and at least he kept faithful. Because when you think, as you said, when he played with the England camp recently, there's all the speculation going on with him. But the one thing he didn't do was make it vocal. He just kept quiet. He's on holiday at the moment, so and that's what you get. That's what you're going to get with a player.
It's true. There's a funny comment coming in here, man. Here we go. Pigeon Patrol, whoever that is. Will Declan Rice become the next Harry Maguire? Harry Maguire, man. 80 million he cost United, I was looking at it the other day, right? The most expensive British transfers. So, of course, now was Rice at the top. Then it was Grealish. Then it was Romelu Lukaku. Yeah, just club to club, yeah. But Harry Maguire, 80 million. What?
Money well
Seriously,
spent,
man. Seriously, man. I mean, I'm not picking on him, honestly, because he's a United player, man, but leaving the ball run outside him, the player outflank him, and then his no-look tackle where he looked the wrong way, but the player was gone the other direction and the ball was with him. He was just inept. And then his attempt to save it resulted in it being a goal. Even worse, when De Gea could have just picked it up, his attempt then to kind of cut it out was like, what are you doing? You know, and then he collided with De Gea, booed into the face. I mean, come on, man. The player was just poor old Harry Maguire by. But what I don't understand is where he gets the confidence from, because after all of that, look at the highlights really of him getting absolutely, after all of that, he still actually came on the field and put on a jersey and came out in front of fellow professionals, former professionals at Old Trafford, Alex Ferguson in the stand, and he stood there. I couldn't do it, man. I would have just hung up my boots. I would have just left.
Well, he's got that
At
price
the
tag to
airport. I would have
live
just been at the airport. Yeah, but like the poor guy, I mean, he just wasn't up. He's just not up to it, man. Seriously, I honestly, poor Maguire.
You know, give me due, like you said, he still turned up, didn't he? He still went out on the pitch and he still did his part. You know, even though he was crap, he still did his part. So
yeah,
fair play to him. You know.
He's poor old Harry, man. Didn't he beat up a DJ or something? Where was that? Where did he beat up a DJ or something? Or he got into trouble over in, I don't know. He got arrested by the Spanish police and then.
Allegedly,
yes. I have to say allegedly, or I'll get True Gunner. Big up, lads. Yeah, big up yourself, man. Guys, if you haven't already,
please. Good to see you on there.
Please subscribe to this man's channel.
He's another, you know, real one as well in that. You know, I like how Josh. He's you know, he does talk some good stuff. So yeah, big up to him. Big up to True Gunner.
He's got a fitness channel, as when I saw he was doing like some fitness, yeah. Some like really hard physical exercises. There we go.
If you see me, Dave, I won't be going on that channel. I don't need the fitness. I'm okay. I don't need the fitness.
For 100k a week, I'd have sat on the pitch with a deck chair. In a deck chair. Yeah, exactly. That would be nice, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's true. You're getting paid. I mean, you're getting paid a lot to. I mean, people can laugh, but the money was into the bank account. Yeah, the money was in the bank account. Yeah, man. Poor old Harry Maguire.
So, I mean, how about you guys? You know, as Arsenal fans, where do you see yourself finishing? You know, for the new season.
I don't think we're going to be champions anyway. Like, I mean, I look forward to the new season with a lot of hope. I mean, with these signings we have gotten, it is going to be an exciting season. I mean, we have a lot to look forward to, and we're back in the Champions League. Do I think we're going to be champions? I don't think it's possible. And I don't want to be negative. I think what you said, like maybe third or fourth, is correct. But once we see progress, I mean, if the team are playing better than they did last season, but we don't win the league, if we're a bit more solid. What I liked last season was at certain points in the season, like in certain games, before we capitulated, we had been maybe outplayed. The team would go up the other end of the field and there was a ruthless streak. And I like that. No matter what had gone on before it, we went up and we scored. And there was a nastiness about the team. There was this ruthless backbone that we were like, we'd go for the kill. And I liked that. That pleased me because we were getting outplayed. As soon as we got the ball forward, 1-2 in the box, the ball was hammered into the net, like smashed in. I like that ruthless side to us that we didn't actually, whatever went on for the previous 20 minutes, it all paled into its significance once we got the ball and went forward. And I like the way the team developed this kind of killer instinct. To a certain extent, they had that, definitely in the first half of the season, and it pleased me. Yeah. I like to see it because it's necessary and it's something that was lacking all the time. And when I saw it, I kind of smiled to myself and I said, that's how you do it. I liked that ruthless streak, you know, and you could see the other team was shell-shocked because they had like hit the bar 3 times and like one off the line. And as soon as Arsenal hit the front, it was like, this team is ruthless. You know what I mean? Yeah. I liked it. It pleased me to see that. Where do I think we're going to win the league? Like only one team can win it.
I get that. But going by what you just said there, like, you know, that ruthlessness, etc., would you say that was more down to the players and their confidence, or would you say that was from Arteta installing that confidence in the team?
I would say it was Arteta. I think he was nurturing them, yeah, and he was building them up. There was belief, there was confidence there, and I think he built that up on the training road. I think he has he has done well. Look, I was Arteta out, because I thought that, like, why don't we give the job at the club to an Arsenal legend? Paddy Vieira was knocking about, yeah. Crystal Palace. Why don't we give it to Patrick Vieira? You know what I mean? So Mikel Arteta, look, he's not an Arsenal legend. My attitude was, let's give it to Paddy Vieira. I thought Unai Emery was hard done by. Mikel Arteta kind of slipped into the job. He kind of sneaked into the job because they got it under our radar at the start because former player Mikel Arteta been doing his coaching at Manchester City. Pep was the one delivering at Manchester City at the time. Arteta was making the tea, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, Arteta was doing it, but at Man City, it was Pep. This was Pep's baby. Arteta was there in some, in some way, shape, or form. Arteta was there. You know what I mean? But it was Pep. Then he came to Arsenal, got it under the radar. I was Arteta out, I'll be honest, because I think that we needed, look, these players are not getting any younger yet. They're still young guys, but it's unfair to Saka and guys like that. That was my opinion. Martinelli, Emile Smith-Rowe, big fan of his. I was thinking it's unfair. Like, I was thinking Arteta was kind of learning managerial experience while at Arsenal. And then he was maybe going to move on to a different club. Because I didn't think it was fair that he was learning the job and learning the trade at Arsenal to the detriment of the younger players. That was my opinion. And that is why I was not a fan of Arteta, because I thought that he was just like going to piggyback. As soon as he learned what he had, or to Spurs, he was going to move on. Now I see that he's not like that. He's not a mercenary. But I do think that the younger players, they deserve to be coached by a better manager. Now, he has brought them along. And he has brought himself along. I've had to eat a bit of humble pie, and I don't mind doing that. I've had those words shoved down my throat. When we went for the league last season, not so I could walk down the street with my head held high with my chest out, I pushed behind Arteta and the team 100%. I didn't say anything negative in my posts. I didn't go negative in my streams because I saw what he was trying to do, and I pushed behind the team last season every way I could. You know what I mean? I was supporting them fully, wishing them the best for the season. Whereas before that, I was just, with Arteta, now I see what he's trying to do, but my opinion is just like a former player manager then. Players don't always make good coaches. And I just wanted us to maybe have an Ancelotti. I wanted us to maybe have a... Zidane was the one in a million, Zidane and Guardiola. But it's not always the case. Players play, managers manage. I just wanted us to have a manager. That's all I'm going to say about that. Look at these comments here. Honestly, Tony, this club has missed out. Team just challenging, mate. That's all we can ask is we turn up and challenge and show some balls. Yeah, show some balls and some rootlessness.
Yeah. Yeah, as we said, I think we did. You did it to a certain point, but as we know, the last quarter of the season, and that is when you kind of stumbled and fell. I think that's why fans don't know how to handle this season because they're not getting used to it. It's a true comment. You can't argue with that. That's for sure.
This next comment.
I love this. Can you believe this comment? Yes.
BBC News footballer Benjamin Mendy said he's had 10,000 women courters. What's that got to do with the court case? I mean, what is it with him? What did he do? Anyway, 10,000.
More again.
So he says
allegedly what he did do and what he didn't do. But I think most people knows what he did do. Is if you can say like the same for your player. Did he do exactly the same thing as what Benjamin Mendy did? I think that's that will probably come out in the wash, as they say. Yeah.
Thomas Partey, yeah. Maybe I should have named him now, but anyway, Thomas Partey has got a bit of a.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not going to go into it there on my channel because not because I'm going to support Partey, but it's just for my channel. But all I say is about him, like the evidence is pretty. And I mean, why do something like that? I mean, have a heart. I mean, it's animal behavior.
We spoke earlier. It's the
There's
money
no
side
excuse
of
for
things,
treating someone like that, man.
What was the French player? One had the scar on his face. What was his name there?
Ribéry?
Ribéry?
Yeah, Franck Ribéry. Yeah, Ribery, yeah, Bayern, FC Bayern.
He had
Frank.
Did he have the
Frank
same thing? I think
Ribery.
he had. He was allegedly charged with the same thing. He was found out. I do
He was
believe.
with a minor as well. I think he was with a minor. She was only 15.
Yes, that's it. That's
Some Russian
yeah,
board.
that's what it was. Allegedly with a minor, Dave.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay, let's move on past the danger zone. Now. Let's get out of the danger zone.
Yeah,
question here for Tony.
Quickly.
Question for Tony. Do you trust Sullivan to reinvest the money properly, and how do you think you will do in the new season?
Well, this is the key thing, isn't it? What will Sullivan do? I mean, like, you know, if you think about you guys having the protests with kind of getting Cronkies out, etc., and FSG with Liverpool, etc., we had exactly the same thing with Gold, Sullivan, and Brady. And obviously, the last couple of seasons, because we did well in Europe, etc., that all went by the by. Last season, you know, we finished 15th, but again, there was no protest because obviously we did well with the Europa Conference. So Sullivan, doing what he did, and obviously now you've got the player in writing, selling him by saying that, you know, we've got a gentleman's agreement. Will he reinvest the money properly? Well, we're getting this, I think it's Bayern, Ten Hag or Ten Stag or something. He's going to be the new director of football. So hopefully it won't be Sullivan, because Sullivan's buys have not been great. So going by what you said there, Hullabaloo, if it's Sullivan reinvesting the money, we're not going to get exactly what we want. If this new director of football comes in, I can't remember his name completely, then I think we've got more of a chance to get something that's going to be quite decent or half decent with us. How do we finish next season? Well, I think compared to what we had last season, we can only go one way, and I think that's up. We need to do better than we did last season, without a doubt, considering the 2 seasons before that. I think we've got a chance of doing that as long as we buy in the right players. I think with that side of things, that's got to improve. Cup-wise, hopefully with the Europa League, we do well in that. So that'll be the 3rd season in Europe. So hopefully we've got a chance of actually doing well in there. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Big up, Luca. Hope you're keeping well, mate. It's good to see you on here. What do you think about the Rice deal? I know you was kind of thinking he was City bound. Be good to see what your answer is on that. Is Dave's turn to disappear, is it? Bear with us, guys. Let's see if he's okay. Arsenal forever. Arteta was a panic buy by Wenger. Arteta was a bang average footballer and now a bang average manager. Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah, Hullabaloo, you're probably right there. Yeah, thank you for your super chat. Oh dear. I think he might have gone through his toilet break, or his had YouTube on him already about the allegedly part of it, with his comments. What about you guys? Do you think you're going to do well in the cups? League Cup, FA Cup, and obviously Champions League. How well do you think you're going to do in the Champions League? That'd be an interesting one to know. Do you think you're going to get to the last 16, or do you think you're going to fall earlier than that?
All right, I'm back. Sorry, guys. I had to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I'm drinking a lot.
Yeah,
of water.
I told you that's where he's gone. I told you he's going to there.
I'm drinking a lot of water, guys. This is water, yeah. This is a vodka. I am Irish, but I'm drinking water, all right? It does happen. Big up to Luca, man. Anybody that hasn't already, please subscribe to his channel, yeah. Luca's had a bit of a rough run recently. A couple of people like calling him out about his views on Declan Rice coming to the club. He didn't think it was going to happen, which is fair enough, because at the same time, I didn't either. I didn't get called out about it. I thought when Man City came in, I thought that was it. I have to be perfectly honest. Luca has his own opinions. Luca has his own channel. Luca's a quiet lad, in my opinion. I wouldn't be so quiet, I have to be honest, guys. But look, I'm Irish, for God's sake. But look, Luca's a quiet lad, but I mean, people were calling him out about his opinions. Now he thinks he's not going to go on his channel and create content anymore. I think that's a real shame. And I think you shouldn't let people upset you like that, Luca. If you don't mind me saying it, if you don't mind me telling people what happened, I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to name the person that said it. It doesn't matter. And their opinion is also not important. Yeah. But yeah, you have a right to your opinion. And if you thought that Arsenal were not going to sign Declan Rice, then for you to be vilified about that and put on show on social media, that's not right either. You keep going with your channel, man. And you keep creating your content. What the hell with the naysayers? Who cares about them?
He's a good lad.
Luca, man.
He's a good lad.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. Yeah. And Luca, listen to me, man. Listen to me. Yeah.
And the other, you think of why vilify him if that's the case when there's hundreds of people who said exactly the same thing. He's off to City.
He got put on blast. Yeah. He got put on blast on social media because of his beliefs. I mean, his channel is his business. It's not fuck all to do with me. Just putting that out there, yeah. It's got nothing to do with me, yeah. His channel is his business. And his right to have his opinion as a football fan is also his right. He has the right to disagree. Anyone can come on my channel with their opinions and they'll be respected. I swear by it. That's why I run things. This man's got to keep going with his channel. And I mean, for people to be putting the boot into him, don't care about the man. Luca, let me tell you something, man. Do you know how short life is? It's short. Do your thing, man. Be happy, enjoy what you're doing, and stick to your channel. I do this, guys, because it gives me pleasure, and I like it, and it makes me happy. That's why you do your channel, Luca. You should feel the same. Be happy in yourself, be kind to yourself, and just move on past this, man. It's not important. Their opinion is not important. Seriously, honestly. I mean, who cares? Jeez. Do you know how short life is? Yeah, man. Forget about it. I think he fainted from my super chat. No, I didn't. I was in the bathroom. I got a bit of a donation there, guys, from Hullabaloo. He was kind to me. We had a little bet on. He said that if Declan Rice didn't come to Arsenal, he'd give me a £10 super chat. Rice came. It was a win-win situation for me, but he gave the £10 anyway. He said it's like 3 coffees a week. So yeah. Hullabaloo has subscribed to Luca. Come on and subscribe to Luca, guys. Everybody. And then we're all going to meet up. And we're going to go to this person's house. I'm only joking, guys. We're going to have a couple of beers. We're going to put on the balaclavas, the Irish ones that I have. I'm joking, guys. Yeah? I'm winding you up, yeah. That's my uncle. That's not me. That's a joke, guys, as well. All right. That's a joke, huh? All right. Scott Kirk. Hello, mate. Hey, how are you, man? You keeping well? This man is living all the way over in New Zealand, but he's an Englishman. What time is it there now? Let me think. It's already tomorrow. How are you getting on anyway, man? I hope you're keeping well. Scott, do you know Earlydoorsfootballtv? You should subscribe to his channel, yeah? Earlydoorsfootballtv. Check out his channel, man. Seriously. He's a hammer. He's an iron. But look, we won't hold that against him. Nobody's perfect. We all have our crosses to bear, guys. Some greater than others. But who won the trophy last season? It wasn't us, guys. Who won the trophy? It wasn't this.
All I say is
we got the second place. We got the Arsene Wenger second place trophy. We came second. We got the second place trophy. You know what I mean? A little kind of trinket. I've been growing this beard. I'm not going to shave this beard until Arsenal win the league. This beard is going to be there for a while.
Well,
I'll be like one of the Dubliners. You know the Dubliners, Tony? I'll be like one of the Dubliners.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
You remember Ronnie Drew, do you? Ronnie Drew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was
All
going to
right,
say, Dave,
guys.
just remember that, the driving force of your midfield and that is driven by a hammer. That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly.
Question I asked earlier on while you was having your pee break, and that was how far do you think you're going to finish in the Champions League, Cups, and obviously the league title? So obviously Hullabaloo's, he's answered it by saying I think quarters for the Champions League. It's probably about right, I'd say, for you guys. I think you can get as far as there.
Yeah. If we get out of the group stage, I would be happy. I'm delighted to see the European games coming back to the Emirates. But I think the quarters is fair. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win the league. If we won the FA Cup, I would be happy. I mean, if we could win even the Carabao Cup, if we could win one of the cup competitions, Arteta got a bit of stick for that last season when we were pushing for the league. That the emphasis was more on the league than the cups. And when we got knocked out against the cups, he was like, we had bigger fish to fry. But in the end, we didn't do that either. He got a little bit of stick for that. Maybe rightly so. Yeah, I'm sure he's taken that on board. But some of the teams we put out, were weakened, and I mean we should have went full throttle. I mean, if you okay, it's a long hard season, yeah, and next season is going to be even harder because of the Champions League. But if you have like a continuity in the team, it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like for the players to actually play with each other, for 12 games or for 10 games, it kind of creates you remember the great Juventus team of like 95, 94. It was basically the team would pick itself, the 11 or the 11.
Yeah.
I mean, and they had like 3 subs. This Juventus team were like the way they passed the ball. It was like they knew where they know where each other were going to be, overlapping runs, this kind of thing. Positional play. They got into such a level of that they knew. They were a very good, successful team at that. The Barcelona team, of course, blessed with talent. But when you have a group of players like that and they play regularly week in, with each other, it does increase a certain level of, and we need that. I mean, Arsenal need that, I mean, if we can get that going on, it would be a good thing. You know what I mean? Sometimes tinkering with it. Okay, Pep has taken things to the next level. Now, you mentioned John Stones earlier. Everybody is trying to do with John Stones midfield on it.
Yeah.
We're probably going to have Timber coming into the midfield, That's going or maybe Ramsdale, I don't know, maybe be like really adventurous, like the Dutch. We'll have total football. We'll have Ramsdale actually, we won't worry about the goal. We'll just have Ramsdale, going for it. I don't know. We'll just take out the goalkeeper, for 10 minutes and we'll play without a goalkeeper. How do you think you'll do Europa, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're aiming at West Ham there. How I think we're doing the Europa. I think if you look at it, that's where we kind of the last couple of seasons concentrated more on the Europas. So I think we're again progress. Probably would be like you guys get to the quarters. If we can push on from that point onwards, we stand a good chance. But I think it comes down to again now that we haven't got Rice in the middle of the park. It's what we bring in. We need to kind of obviously we've got quite a good youth system there, but we need really someone that's going to come in, hit the ground running, and move on from there. I mean, I just seen Scott's comment. Well, we finish higher than West Ham. Sorry. Yeah, you did. No fair plays like that, but who's got the bragging rights at this stage? Maybe not next season, Scott, but this season.
Who won the trophy?
There you go.
1-0 to the Hammers. Walk away. And it was a good win, guys. Like I said, in the final even, and the semi-final. But in the final, the goal, the move, the way they played all throughout the final, they played with a bit of verve and a bit of fire in the belly, which Arsenal did not, in some of the games at the end, man. But West Ham played with a bit of fire. I mean, they did play with a bit of fire and with a bit of heart. You see what could be, as I said, and I'm not kissing Tony's ass, this is what I was saying. I didn't even know Tony was a YouTuber at this point when I was watching this game. But at the time, I was saying when I went into work the next day, I said to some of the lads, because I'm living near the stadium, a lot of the lads who work with me, they support Arsenal. A couple of Spurs, mostly Arsenal. I turned around and I said, you see what could be achieved, guys, when the team plays as a unit and every man puts in a shift for the man next to him. That's what can be achieved. Because West Ham showed it. It's not all about talent, because they are good players, they have a good team, but so are Fiorentina. But they went out and they committed themselves. And you're telling me there wasn't nerves? You're telling me it wasn't tension? The game was balanced on a knife edge, I thought, for the most part. But they went out and they gave in a performance and they worked hard for each other. They covered every blade of grass. You see what can be achieved. That's what I said I went into work the next day, man. And it wasn't me proving a point. You see what can be achieved. Now look at Odegaard at the end of the season. Look at Saka. I'm not going to slate Martinelli. Trossard was actually good for us. He was cracking the ball off the bar every 5 minutes, a little bit unlucky. Every time I looked up, Trossard was cracking the ball off the crossbar. He actually played well. But the rest of them, see what can be achieved by with a little bit of gumption, a little bit of courage. You know what I mean? The courage to actually play and to defend and be committed in the tackle. We had none of that, man. None of that. Anyway, rant over. We didn't, though. We didn't. We were lacking. We were soft centre, soft touch. Everyone knew it. All right. Do you want to take Lakonga off us? Yeah, take Sambi Lakonga, man. Would you like Sambi Lakonga as well? Look, what we do is Sambi Lakonga and an iPhone. No, wow. Sambi Lakonga and a PlayStation. Deal.
No, we were doing the conga down at Stratford High Street when we were showing the cup off, but taking the conga on. Wow, no, there's a as much as Hula Blue saying please.
Yeah,
there's only so much.
Hula Blue is nice. Come on, it was not a trophy; it's a flower vase. Yeah, that wasn't a trophy. It looked like a flower vase.
It's a beautiful flower vase, though, isn't it? It's a beautiful flower vase. If you look at it like that.
Rice was holding it well anyway. He looked good with it in his arms. I've seen that so many times in the past. Now a trophy would be taking Holding, Cedric, Fabio, and Lakonga. Cedric.
I mean, we're good, Scott, but we're not that good. We're not that good. We're good, but we're not that good.
I think he's talking about Fabio Vieira. Yeah, Jesus, he is. Oh my God. There's only one Vieira by Patrick. Dave, would you stop challenging and finish second for finishing 15th and winning a European trophy? Not piss taken. Yeah, I would. I would have. Winning a trophy, a European trophy, absolutely. I would.
I mean, if you look at Hullabaloo, the one thing it's done, it's got us into the Europa League, but just by winning that, it's got us that.
Exactly, directly into the...
If you look at it, we was quite fortunate enough even really to finish 15th, because I thought at one point it was touching the wire at that point, and we were going to actually kind of get out of that bottom. But we did, and the rest of it was history at that point. But yeah, the Europa Conference, I know everyone's what they say about it, but it still kind of gets you something. And like I said, for us, it's 3 years in a row now in Europe. You haven't got that kind of, you can't say that yourselves, can you, at this stage?
No. We're back in the Champions League. I think that's a positive step for us. But the only thing good that will come out of it, in my opinion, is, okay, we go as far as we can. We're not going to win it, obviously. But the thing is, the increased level of competition will make the team better. It's as simple as that. It will.
That's what's
increased level of competition. We'll be playing at a higher level.
The problem is, I think, going asking that question early on, where you're going to finish, is the fact of, as you know full well, last season, as most of you have already heard, was your best chance of winning the league. Now this season, the likes of Man City, they haven't done it yet, but they always kind of bring one or two players in near to the end of the transfer window. Liverpool have bought someone so far. Obviously, yourselves are kind of buying. Spurs are buying as much as we don't really want to see that. Newcastle is going to do something. You've got the likes of Aston Villa and even Brighton. When you look at Brighton, there's going to be, I think, the surprise package next year. De Zerbi is a good manager. He's a really good manager.
They have a fantastic team, man. They have a fantastic team.
Yeah. I mean, and he's bought 4 or 5 players now.
Yeah.
He's a for most people.
Yeah.
It's true. Trophy's a trophy.
I was like last season, I was seeing a girl for a while, and her brother, yeah, was a Liverpool fan. And I think she met up with him in the pub or something, and he was in a really bad mood because I think Brighton had absolutely destroyed Liverpool. Like they did to Arsenal now. And she was like to me, God, I can't believe it. She's like an Arsenal fan. She was like, oh my God, man, things have gone very bad at Liverpool, losing to Brighton. I said, there's something you need to know. I said, Brighton, they actually have a team. She was thinking like Brighton, Brighton by the beach, Brighton and the thing, Brighton in the middle of nowhere, and Liverpool. I was there, there's something you need to know. I said, Brighton, they actually have a team. When I said it, she was like, oh. I said, yeah. I said, they're actually on it. You know what I mean? Do you still back David? Do you still back David Sullivan? I think he's talking about David Sullivan and not me, because I'm David as well.
Yeah, I think, the one thing I'll commend him for is the fact of, what's kind of fresh in the face of everyone at the moment is Rice. The fact that he actually turned around and said to Arsenal, no, we're not going to bend over and let you kind of just roger us with this kind of 75 million first of all, then 85 million. At the end of the day, the one thing over our history, when the Kearns owned the club, and then when we had Terence Brown own the club, we sold players on, and we lost out big time on players. There was no kind of sell-on clauses. We undersold players. So when you look at someone like Declan Rice, I know people will say he's not worth the money that you've paid for him, but I saw quite a few channels saying, like, why is West Ham taking the mickey and why are they kind of holding out? It's because at the end of the day, in that, he's our best player. He's captain, future England captain. As David just mentioned, his stats alone put that fee up, and obviously winning the Europa Conference put his fee up even more. So yeah, he's worth every single penny in our eyes. So yeah, at this point, David Sullivan, yeah, it's what happens from that point. Obviously, David Gold obviously passed away. The Gold family have still got a small interest in the club. If they're going to stay on is another thing. Cotinci's in the background. It's who we get from here. All I say is this, Jim Radcliffe, please buy Man United, because obviously if Sheikh Jassim wants to buy West Ham, we're here ready and waiting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, a bit of financial clout wouldn't be too bad really at Pumper, but it's exactly true what you said about Declan Rice, man. I mean, in my opinion, you have to pay the money for that player. Like I said, he's your talisman, your captain, future England captain, the best player at the club. If you are resigned to losing him, a gentleman's agreement that he could go with David Sullivan, of course you want to get paid, because it's also about the future of the club. Like, I'm sure Declan Rice was happy to achieve such a fee for West Ham as well. You know what I mean? He was happy to bring in such a high fee for them that they make a profit. I read this interview, he said it was important to him, and I believe it. Like, face value, he was speaking the truth. Yeah, it was important to him that he helped him financially as he moved forward, because he cares about the club, and that's important for you too, man. Exactly. I mean, you're not a small club here, man. West Ham have a lot of fans. They have the stadium, and they have history. So. They have history and they have tradition. You know what I mean? They're a London club. Nobody forgets about them, and they were formidable as well back in the day when we used to play. Man, you were formidable. I mean, it was always a tough game. Sometimes it was 2-2, or you might win it 2-1, or we might nick it 2-1. Even though we might have been winning the league now and again, when we played, the games were competitive. Sometimes he might run out 3-0. Well, normally it was tight. It was tight.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Blues is going to be going against the grain here, but I can see Brighton and De Zerbi being found out next season. Yeah, possibly so. I mean, as well. Put it this way, you guys know that very well. You get a new manager in, he does well one season. Can he maintain that? And yeah, it would be interesting. Be interesting to see one there.
Next comment. Would you stick with David Moyes as manager going forward?
Looking at last season, Scott, I think he got us to where he was, but at the same point, the problem we've got with Moyes, he's kind of, he got to the stage where he's a one-trick pony. it was too obvious, playing the same style of football. For me, what my biggest bugbear is this kind of lone striker up top. We lost 2 good strikers because of his style of football. You know, Haller, we signed him with a great expectation that he's going to get goals from us. Moyes didn't adapt to the player's style of football, and we got nothing out of him. Sold him, and you know, when you look at it, even with the cancer he's got over, he was still banging in goals for Ajax as well as for Bayern. So when you look at it, the player can't be wrong. And we're getting the same thing now with Skamaka. You know, he's not another player he's not adjusting to, expecting that, you know, we're going to have one striker or none. Well, you know, because at the end of the day, Antonio, as much as, you know, he scored goals near the end of the season, he was doing nothing beforehand. So I think David Moyes, unfortunately, I think his time is limited. If he doesn't start off well in the first 5 games, I think he'd be gone early, very early. I mean, I like Moyes. He's, you know, he tries to get the team to play his style of football, but really, I think we need a bit of a new challenge. So I think, yeah, these first 5 games are going to be quite important for his managerial career here at West Ham.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. Even though he won the trophy with them last season, it's going to be different because in the league, like you said, for a while it was touch and go, yeah. And that can't happen again for a second season. I mean, you can't be kind of languishing.
100%.
You are in the Europa League, like you said, but I mean, like in the league, the team needs to kind of have a little bit of form and have a little bit of consistency. And mid-table, top 8. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not better than that, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying you want them at a level and you want them consistent. I'm not saying that maybe they will go higher than Arsenal. Who knows? But you want a bit of consistency, definitely. You know what I mean? Like without Declan Rice,
is the thing, isn't it? I mean, you know, when you think of last season, we finished 15th. The season before that, you know, we was 7th, and the season before that, we was 5th. So when you look at them 2 seasons, you know, we was higher than you guys. Said something about his style of management. He was actually getting the players to do something. Last season, it just kind of, you know, it's chalk and cheese, really. If you look at Arsenal's set of fixes, I think you had the more easier run. That's why you got off to a good start, whereas we struggled. I think that was the biggest difference. Only difference which is Tony's Arteta was shit when he came and got better. Yeah.
Did he get better though? Did he get better? Did he?
Well,
maybe he did.
What summed up for me was not last season, the season before that. You know, when you had these games in hand, I think the game that showed Arteta's weakness was when you lost at St James's Park. He just stood there, motionless, and it was the coaching team that was actually kind of getting the team to do things.
Yeah,
pretty much. He didn't last season.
You could imagine Jurgen Klopp in that situation. He would have been doing, you know what I mean? I mean, he was like shell shocked, just shell shocked. But they had a team.
Yeah, absolutely. They were. Yeah, absolutely.
They're no pushover. I mean, but yeah, we got turned over, and the best team won on the day. And yeah, we didn't show any. Like if we had gotten the goal back, maybe we could have done something. You know, quick fire response. But you really have to throw the kitchen sink at them, man. If you're losing 2-0, you might as well lose 10-0. I mean, throw the kitchen sink at them. I remember when England were playing last year in the World Cup against France, was it? The World Cup against France? Semi-final? Yeah. And it was going into like the last 5 or 6 minutes and England kept recycling the ball. But France were like solid. I mean, they looked comfortable in areas and they looked very comfortable at the back end. I remember saying, like, I was in the hotel and everything shut down. All the people in the hotel came down into the restaurant and they were all gathered around the TV. People were sitting on the ground. People were sitting on chairs. Everyone was like, watching it. So that was grand. I was watching it and we were all watching it. Sometimes, man, you just got to go for it because I said to them at the time when the game was going on, like they were playing into France's hands. They were playing into their hands. I said to them, take out the goalkeeper. Take out the goalkeeper, put on another outfield player. Throw caution to the wind. If France hits you on the break, you might still kick the ball out into touch. You know what I mean? You might still clear the ball. But you have to, like, this was the World Cup we were talking about here. They were going out. Last 3 or 4 minutes, take out the goalkeeper. Extra outfield player. You know what I mean? And throw caution to the wind, man.
Exactly.
Seriously, desperate times call for that. This was the World Cup we were talking about. This wasn't like, how many years were they qualifying? 2 years? And then how many games did they have to go through to get to that stage? And they might never reach there again, we say. Okay, the team is young. They have a lot going for them. They had a England team. They could be champions. But at the moment, I will say to everyone, take out the goalkeeper, man. Seriously, you have the outfield players out there. Get one more in there, pack the midfield, and go for it. Pin them back. You know what I mean? And go for it. If they hit you on the break, there's always a chance that one of the outfield players will clear the ball into touch. No problem. You know what I mean? Take out the goalkeeper, because it was all England at that point. France were not attacking on the goal. Take out the goalkeeper. So what was he doing? He was doing nothing. Honestly, man, it's up here, man. Like Arteta, sometimes Arteta, man, do something. Switch it up. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Take out the goalkeeper.
What surprised me was, when you think about it, I think when you went up to St James's Park last season, everyone thought it was going to be an easy Newcastle win. And I think this is where you had a bit of a losing streak, and you come to Newcastle, and it looked like it was going to be a Newcastle win, but you just kind of blew them out of the water. But the way the over celebrating, everyone's got to realise that after that, that's when your season went to shite at that point. So
yeah. We saw ourselves in the ascendancy. We were ahead. I think after we beat United at the Emirates, I started to really think, you know what, we have a chance. Now we have a chance. But when we beat United at the Emirates, and it was a seesaw battle, and we got the goal at the end to Nketiah, I remember thinking, you know what, this team is made of something strong, because they really fought hard. And in the last 30 minutes, the pressure and the attacking from Arsenal was relentless. We just, literally, the United defenders, they just ran out of steam. They ran out of steam in the last 5 or 6 minutes, because we were just relentless. And they ran out of steam. We were constantly, we had them like boxed in, and we were attacking. They couldn't break out. They could not break out. So I thought after that game, you know what, this team is going places, man. This team is going places, but it just wasn't meant to be in the end, man. The best team won the league. We can have no complaints, seriously.
No, of course, exactly. I mean, just going back on Scott Kirk's there, he's always a fan of Tony Cott. I mean, Tony Cott was a great player for us, and when you look at, was the 86, 87, him and McAvenny, John Lyle got him up to third. I think we lost a couple of games. I think one of them was against Jews guys, if I remember rightly. But that was our best chance of getting. I think if we'd won a couple of more games, I think we'd have finished top. But we ended up as we were third, so it was our best season. So but Tony Cotty, legend for West Ham.
Yeah, a great player, man, and a fair player. Fair, you know what I mean? But he was a tough guy, man. Absolutely. He was tough. I mean, Tony Cotty was tough. He might have had this nice hairstyle, like layered and all around. But that man was tough. I mean, he was old school, man. He was just tough. Everything about him was a man. He was just. You never see a dirty tackle on him, because they were afraid of him. They knew he was tough. He could take it. What I have been impressed with Arteta is he seems to be learning from mistakes. And I look at league finishes on with that. No illusion, a rookie manager is going to make mistakes. Yeah, of course, he did well in the last season, Arteta. Regardless, he did well, no matter what happened at the end. Yeah, look, they gave us a lot of happy moments last season, and they brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. I mean, and the atmosphere started to come back to the Emirates. There's been a lot said about the atmosphere at the stadium. It's never going to compare to Highbury. Highbury was very compact. The fans were almost on the pitch, deafening. But, the atmosphere came back there for a while, because everybody was, like, fired up. I felt like I did when I was 16 again last season. Like, I was getting so excited about the upcoming game, and nervous tension. I didn't know were we going to win or lose. I was excited. I was like I was when I was a kid, because we were actually competing for the league. It was like an adrenaline rush, and the game was coming up. I was like, oh man, you know what I mean? What's going to happen? Seriously, good times, man. This is where I think Arsenal have gone a bit delusional. There we go. Because if you had asked any fan when Wenger was stinking the place out, would you challenging playing good football? Would you challenging playing good football and finishing second? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. To think you had, if you go by the stats, 93% of the season, it was yours title, and as you mentioned earlier, Dave, it literally was yours to throw away, and
yeah,
at least you did it in glorious style. You did throw it away, and yeah, but
yeah, man.
I think the problem was when you look at it, it is a fact of. I think everyone, even most Arsenal fans are apprehensive when you start, when you just kind of got to the top, and then you start, next month you're still top, and then the month later you were still top.
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of like, I can't say it yet because we're Arsenal. We know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But then when it came to next month, you're still top, and the month after that you're still top, and it's like I'm actually getting a little bit of belief here. And as always, they come and kick you in the nuts, and we know we ended up kind of thing. But it was that kind of everyone got on board, believing that side of things, and no doubt you work with colleagues, and most of the other guys are probably exactly the same. Once you threw that title away, I bet you must have never heard the end of bottle jobs. You lost it, etc. It's yours to win. La da da da. Is yeah. Hopefully they'll learn from it. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the worst thing was as well. Yeah, but the worst thing was as well that they came to within a point of us. I think Manchester City, and then we opened up the 8-point gap again because they faltered and we won a couple of games. Right. So we went into a dip. They came close. I thought, right, this is it. They're taking over. And then they went into a dip and they didn't do too well. And we managed to pull clear again. And then I thought, man, we're back in it. We're back on top. We're back clear. We got the 8 points cushion. That was game over then at that point. I mean, that was curtains.
Yeah. I think someone worked it out. I think it was a turnaround of, was it 18, 21 points from where you were, 8 points clear?
Yeah. On the 1st of April, we were 8 points clear.
Yeah, April Fool's Day, don't forget, that's what...
There's plenty of fools going around at the end of the season, anyway, I tell you that.
That's for sure.
Jesus. But it was just, look at that. Tony Cottee was 5'2" in heels. He was an animal of a player. An animal of a player.
That's the reason why, low centre of gravity. He could turn defenders, actually kind of really outdo them.
The hard shot. He was good in the air, too.
Yeah.
He was good in the air, though. He was good on the deck. He had a hard shot. He was strong. He was quick. He had a deft touch. And sadly, I was like, I had a feeling he was going to mess it up. Yeah, I thought when we beat United, like I said, that we were kind of onto something. Then when we bounced back again against City and we went 8 points clear again, and the team was flying, and the goals were flying into the back of the net, and Martinelli was rampaging forward, and Saka was cracking them off the post and the bar, and Trossard was having a go. But after that, reality sunk in. City played exceptional football. Their FA Cup final against United, man, the first goal, was it 12 seconds? I was like this.
Yeah.
And the United fans were like, and Alex Ferguson was the funniest. The camera panned to Ferguson, and he was like this. And I was like that. What a goal. But it was a good game for the neutral, man. What a finish. Cracked it in.
But I'm just going to go back to, when you look at the Liverpool game, the fact that you was at Anfield and you was 2-0 up. Anfield was silent.
Yeah.
And of course, up steps Xhaka. And he decides to poke the bear.
Yeah. And what's his name? The defender, the guy that Arteta rates so high, Zinchenko getting nutmegged. I mean,
yeah.
Zinchenko can't defend, But he's a good attacker. But they want Tierney. Maybe Tierney will leave the club. I think we need Tierney because he's a better defender.
I mean, you know, I know obviously Tierney's had injuries with these guys as well, kind of thing. But you know, if he does move on, obviously, you know, you got to think Newcastle was rumoured to tapping him up.
Yeah.
But then you got to think now, you know, Rodgers is back at Celtic. Could that be the pull?
Yeah, man. Because he's a national player with Scotland. It would definitely do. Maybe go back to Scotland.
Could that be the pull?
That's a good point. Actually,
you never know.
That's
but it'd be a shame if he doesn't go there, because I think, you know, he offers something a bit more than Zinchenko does. I mean, I think the problem was when you signed Zinchenko and Jesus and that, it gives you that little bit of belief because you had 2 cup winners, you know, league winners, and they kind of installed that little bit of confidence in the team. You could see that lift coming to the camp because we've got 2, you know, that could basically spread that winning mentality. But unfortunately, because it's only kind of like 5 minutes worth. But what was annoying for me, I can't remember what the game it was now. Bear with me. Oh, sorry, Mila. What was the game there? I think he was losing at this point. I can't remember. Was it at us? And the camera panned around, and there's Zinchenko pulling all the Arsenal players to G him up. Yet your captain was walking behind, not even nowhere near you's got, you know, the rest of the players. So yeah,
and Zinchenko was the worst player in those games. And Zinchenko was the worst player in those 3 games.
He was, there's no 2 ways about it. But
he was G'ing up the players. Then he was the one that was playing crap.
Oh, he's playing. Yeah, but that was the kind of way you get out of it, Dave, isn't it? You know, if I kind of get the players around, G the players up, no one looks at me then because they're looking at somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, I can see the comments coming through now about, you know, defensively he's not good. If Tierney goes in that, then obviously you know you may be stuck with him if you're not too careful.
See you later, Hullabaloo. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your donation.
Thank you, mate.
Appreciate it.
Good seeing you.
And take care of yourself.
Catch you next time.
And thank you for joining the stream, Pleasure, man. But you know what I was going to say? The one thing that I thought was crazy. Okay, we lost William Saliba. That was a big blow. But Rob Holding came in, and he did his very best. Holding did his best, but what I don't like is people were trying to pass the buck onto him. He was one of the better players, actually. Holding was like defending manfully in games where all the midfield were gone to pieces, and he was immediately under pressure. He defended the very best he could. People trying to pick on him. He was the one that was saving us, actually, because Ramsdale was too chicken to come on and get the ball a few times. And that's what put the pressure on poor Rob Holding, because Ramsdale went to pieces too at the last 5 or 6 games. And when you need your goalkeeper to come on and relieve the pressure and take a catch, Ramsdale was floundering. He was underneath the crossbar. He was just, he had a bad run, man. Poor Rob Holding took the stick, but Rob Holding was actually one of our better players. He was exposed in certain positions because the midfield and Ramsdale were not actually, you know what I mean? He was exposed because they weren't doing what they should be.
He stepped up.
Well, Rob Holding, man.
He actually stepped up.
He did his best.
And he did try to play.
And he played to the best of his ability, man. He played to his best. That's him. Like, Arteta put him in there. Yeah. What did Arteta think? He was going to turn into Roberto Carlos. Was it overnight? It's Rob Holding. He did his best. He put him in there. It's Rob Holding. He put him in there. He wasn't going to play like Lilian Thuram. You know what I mean? He wasn't going to become Lilian Thuram. Like, but he wasn't going to be, man, he wasn't going to become Franco.
He wasn't going to come in and rip up trees, was he? At the end of the day, he was in there just to do a job, kind of thing, And
he did his very best.
I think you're right, Dave. Fair play to me. He did try to do his best, and that's all you could ask.
He got Rob Holding, man. He got Rob Holding. He got all the stick. Midfield were nowhere, man. Midfield were crap in those games. They gave him no protection.
Yeah, you can't, but remember, you can't ever go at your midfield because you've got Odegaard and you've got Partey and you've got Xhaka and you've got Martinelli. You can't ever go at those. You can't ever go at those players. What's wrong with you? You can't do that. But really, I mean, your front line wasn't exactly holding the ball up either, really, when you think of it like that.
No, it wasn't sticking, man. It wasn't sticking up front. It was coming back. And, like, even if it was a high ball, like I said, it was a long ball, Ramsdale wasn't commanding his area. And, of course, Holding felt nervous because he knew that Ramsdale was a bit at 6s and 7s. Gabriel was the same because he didn't have, Gabriel wasn't playing with Saliba, so he was tense.
No,
they were all upset with that. And Ramsdale wasn't confident.
The reason why, sorry, mate. I think that's probably the reason why Ramsdale was anxious, because he knew his back four wasn't solid.
Yeah, and Saliba wasn't there.
If I go out to the ball, then I'll leave my goal exposed. But if I kind of stay on the line, kind of thing, and that, and also my defence is not helping me, and then everything at that point, he's stuck in a rock and a hard place. So what do you do?
Yeah, the problem as well was that we couldn't play the press, and we couldn't play high up the field with Saliba at the back protecting us. We were like playing about 20 yards back. So when we did get possession, we couldn't hit them on the counter quick because we weren't in advanced positions already. We couldn't play that one ball out wide because the players were not that far forward. So when we did get the ball, we were already sucked into our own half. We couldn't break out with the same impetus, man. It was just everything was just wrong.
Scott's mentioned it there, isn't it? As you said, like, when you look at it, not getting that Saliba role with the ball kind of thing, because Saliba, and that, I'll give you due, because you think about it, he was another one that kind of disappeared off the radar, and everyone wondered if he's going to come back and play for you guys. He came in and when you look at it like that, you've got to give credit to Saliba, because that shows you he's got a pair of cojones in that, because getting the treatment that he did, he came into the squad and he made it his own. Unfortunately, injuries kind of put place to that, and as we know what it did for you guys, but hopefully he'll come back, even a stronger player for you. Should be good to see in that respects.
Hopefully, I think he's going back training in about a week or two, but he's an exceptional defender. Yeah, he's an exceptional defender. I mean, he's an incredible defender. I mean, if he didn't get injured, I think we would have, we would have had a very good chance to lift the league. I think we would have fell short, but it would have been close. We might have run it to the last day of the season, or the second last game. Partey was so good because of Saliba's security. Exactly. He locked everything down, man. He couldn't be outpaced. He has a pace to burn. He's actually, I don't know if people realise, but you might not see it on the TV, but he's actually quite physically intimidating. He's very tall. He's rangy. He gets a leg in. You know what I mean? He's a tall guy. He's a big guy. He's difficult to get around. He's actually very difficult to get around. Well, he's quite a good player. Big lad. He's a big fella.
He was mentioned before. He said for his height, etc. And that, he was exceptional because he intercepted balls, pass throughs, etc. Whereas when you look at Gabriel and that, he wants a rugby tackle and tear people's shirts off the back. There's a difference between the two. So that should be interesting.
As well, Saliba had a lot of confidence when he got the ball at the back. Like, even though there might have been some dangerous players moving close, he wasn't careless, but he had the confidence to play around them.
Yeah.
And that kind of gave us the impetus to push forward. He had the actual confidence and the touch to play the pass around them, not dangerously, with control, with composure, calmness. He was calm. He was steady. He was unruffled. It doesn't matter if it was me, close to him, or, Roberto Firmino. He was the same. He was calm, composed. He got to the ball first. And that's everything. And then he played it out around him. He gave us that. It was just, and you see the confidence just grew. It just grew. We were savage. He was an animal at the back. Saliba, man. Big. If I ever get a jersey, it's going to be Saliba. And then I'm going to get another one. Holding. Rob Holding, man. I'm going to get a Rob Holding tattoo here. Holding. You know what I mean? All right. I think I'm going to bring this stream to an end, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Not far from it now, is it?
Thank you to Tony for coming on, guys. Big up his channel, Earlydoorsfootballtv. It's been a pleasure, man. And you have a lot of insight, You have a lot of insight. It bodes well for your channel, man. Seriously, you know football. More than me, You have a lot of insight. You know what I mean? But we can do
got more grey in the beard than what you have, Dave. That's what it is.
You've done more laps around the track, is it?
Yeah.
a bit more wise. I got a couple of silver whiskers myself. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to make you know what I mean? I need to just, something like this now, you know, I need to do something with that. But yeah,
that looks class. That does look class, I must admit.
it's
Maybe
a
the same I've got to look
proper,
to do soon as well then.
you know what I mean? I'm just doing that like that, but it's like, you know, it got long enough, so I just let it go. I wasn't actually doing it like that. I just didn't shave it. I let it grow. Now I tidy it a little bit, but I just leave it. Yeah, it looks
No,
the
but
business
Dave,
with the shaving
thanks
head
for,
as well.
you know, let me come on, mate. You know, it's been a
No
great,
problem.
you know, opportunity to come on. You know, like I said, I've always watched your content, and it's been great. And to actually be part of it now and that, and with the guys in the chat,
You're welcome, man.
it's been a good
And
crack.
you
been a good
made
crack,
you
as
made
they
the
say.
stream. Yeah, and you made the stream tonight what it is by coming on, entertaining, engaging. Yeah, it was a good stream. You made it what it is coming on, yeah. So I appreciate that, yeah.
No,
And I
thank
will
you,
come
mate.
on your
No,
channel too. I will repay the favor. I will come on your channel.
definitely, most definitely.
Scott Kirk, I did not get a notification for the live. Okay, what you do is, Scott, unsubscribe from my channel and then subscribe again. Because sometimes when that happens, if you unsubscribe and subscribe again, it comes alive. All right. Take it easy, guys. Thank you to Scott. Thank you to Arsenal Forever. Thank you to Hullabaloo. Thank you to, oh, there's so many people. Let me just go through them before I knock
True
off.
Gooner come on.
Thank you
Luke
to
come on for a little
Luca.
bit as well.
Arsenal Forever, True Gooner, Pigeon Patrol. Thank you to Pigeon Patrol, whoever that is. Thank you to Earlydoorsfootballtv. That's you, Tony, man. Guys, make sure you check out Tony's channel, yeah, Earlydoorsfootballtv. Big it up, man. Go on and check out his content, yeah. Have a little look around his channel, see what he's got going on. All right, I'm going. And thank you to McManus, yeah. Big up McManus, man.
Yeah,
He's a cool guy.
as well. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, lads,
Dave,
we're going to leave it there.
Thanks, mate.
Take care of yourself, Tony, yeah, and it's been a pleasure. And thank you, man.
Yeah. And you,
good night and all the best, guys.
And look forward to the next time.
Definitely, man.
Take it easy.
See you later, man.
Ta-da, mate.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later, man. Bye-bye.